4-year, $23 million study of substance abuse and sexual habits of more than 2,500 American teens has confirmed that young people between the ages of 13 and 18 who drink and or use drugs are more likely to be sexually active. Dr. Gerald Eckersley is director of the Boston-based organization.
We found that this phenomenon also occurs among adults as well as every population everywhere in the world that has ever existed since the dawn of time.
The center has sent a teleprompter-ready press release of its findings to more than 400 local TV news affiliates across the U.S., along with stock video footage of beer displays and teens smoking and drinking at parties. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160 to call into Free Talk Live. You can get on the air with us and talk about whatever's on your mind. It doesn't matter if you disagree with us. You don't have to be on topic. That's the point of Free Talk Live. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie. Oh, I muted him.
Censored.
But
it's just Bonnie and Angelo.
Yes. And there's always things to talk about, and Trump causes a lot of them to be newsworthy. He causes a lot of things to talk about. But one thing I definitely wanted to start off the show with, because, well, it's been a unfortunate theme here for a while with Trump, is that it's war. I'm not sure if this one's exactly his fault, but the article, the headline here, NBC News, Netanyahu plans to brief Trump on possible new Iran strikes.
Well,
both our presidents.
Yeah, both our presidents, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we knew that the 12-day war, is that what they're calling it now?
I don't
Whatever
know.
we did with Iran. Well, it was just the first salvo, the opening salvo to a offensive scheme by Israel, right? Because we know that the Shah is like, well, not the Shah, but Iran is the last, power standing against, this U.S.-Israel hegemony, right? Syria has been wiped off the map. Egypt has been taken care of. Libya, Syria, right? Did I say Libya yet?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly.
But yeah, all these all these Muslim countries, Iran's like the last one standing against Israel, even though we kind of created that regime in the 70s with the Iranian Revolution, right?
I don't know.
Well, the CIA backed like the overthrow of, like, Iran used to be way more westernized. Like they became like radical, and that was just through a backed coup that we paid for. So we kind of created our own enemy, right? Like we create these enemies, and then we have to go destroy these enemies that we funded. And we just kind of create we're creating these forever wars. Mm-hmm. We just so we can keep making money. It's an excuse to print money and kill people.
It's so weird that I just don't understand if if the United States actually cared. Okay, I do understand. So let me back up a little bit. I understand that they want forever wars and they want to be in control of people, and to be in control of people, you put them in bad situations where they're focused more on surviving. So that's why they do this. But what I don't understand is how the public believes them, that they want to have these wars because they want ultimately good things to come about. Like, oh, we have to like attack these people because they're the bad guys, and we want peace. We want to spread, they say, democracy, but they act like we're going to go around and spread like westernization of the rest of the world this way. It doesn't even make any sense. Oh yeah, destroying their infrastructure, purposely destroying like silver in countries. I think it was like Afghanistan that they destroyed, and other things that.
Well, all the gold they stole from like Iraq.
That wasn't what I was thinking of. I was thinking of silver, and I think it was Afghanistan, and they were doing things like bombing their mines, so it literally was like destroying it.
Oh, so just taking out the infrastructure all the way.
Mm-hmm. Not just infrastructure.
Well, like the mining, like just blowing up the mine, period.
Yeah, but actually it was destroying the silver. Like it was like destroying it. Silver Dave talked about it on the air before. That's the only reason I know about it.
Oh, I've never heard of. I didn't know about like the silver. So they were like corrupting it somehow, like when they would destroy it.
Yeah.
Like chemically.
Yeah, because there's chemicals in the bombs. That's what it had to do with.
Yeah, that's what I'm gathering.
But not only that, it's like I guess it's also true that if you're like bombing the mines, then it's like they can't get to their mines. So
yeah, well, you could eventually dig it out again.
But forget about that one specific thing. You're bombing a country's cities. You're bombing their infrastructure. You're not westernizing anything. You're turning it into more of a third world country. But America purposely attacks things that are like. There's no good reason to say you're doing that except you want to literally destroy people. Like, you don't want to just, like, we just want to get in there, take out the bad guys, and get out. Like, you're destroying, like, the silver mines on purpose. That's not cool. Or that's not even just not cool. Like, there's no way for you to say that you're the good guys in that situation.
Well, because they just view it as total war, right? They just...
Yeah, and
that's how ridiculous. They make money. Exactly, it is ridiculous. It's not a total war.
We don't accept situation. That with the Civil War and just say, like, oh, it's fine. And I mean, like, even the people on the Union side. Like, I'm not on the Union side, and I am not pro-Abraham Lincoln, but even people, like, that are pro-Abraham Lincoln agree, oh, well, like, it shouldn't have gone... to this like total war he had to win lengths.
Yeah,
at least
like
a lot
Sherman's
of them, not
march
everyone, you know.
To the sea, like burning everything.
But for some reason it's just fine when it's non-Americans, you know. It's fine when it's people in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's just like really sad to me because there are so many examples of things that the Middle East did to make America to make the world a better place. So many things that they did to bring like innovation into the world, and it's just been squashed. Now we think of those people whose ancestors were so awesome as like third world like idiots. I can't help but say it because of Islam, definitely, and purposeful keeping them down. Like I just saw a picture the other day of this woman that had like this chain with a picture in each little section, and it was like her great-grandparents, maybe her grandparents, her mother, and her, and she was from Palestine. And when you saw a picture of the great-grandparents, those people were like not only like the most beautiful of all the pictures, but like totally normal looking, awesome looking people, like good looking people. They weren't like, she wasn't covered like a hijab. It's not like that. Like they seemed more westernized than like the woman in the last picture with a freaking cover on, or not a hijab, but you know, maybe it is a hijab. I always forget which one is like the worst, like the burqa, whatever. But
like where you're covering like to the eyes. I think that's a burqa.
Mm. And I just really think like Islam would have been rejected by a lot of people by now if we weren't out there creating terrorists. Like which country is it? I can't remember which country it is right now. That it is Iran. That basically like doesn't want Islam anyway, and they tried to keep it like the lowest levels of Islam, the least bad Islam. But their rulers are trying to make the people want to go more towards like serious Islam. But they're like, nah, we want to celebrate. Is it Iran? I just want to make sure. Like the Xerxes guy, Cyrus the Great, like. Good people, that was Iran, right? Persia was Iran.
Yeah.
And so they like try to hold on to their customs of like they have a holiday that celebrates Cyrus the Great, who was like in the scheme of things in his time, like a really awesome guy who cared more about liberty. Like he made the little people have more liberty than before. He opened up like freedom of religion, and actually like even like the founders of America were inspired by this scroll of his. The people there, they want to hold on to that stuff, and then their rulers are trying to be like, no, go more towards like Islam. It's like I really think naturally things could have come out that would have been over by now. You know what I mean? Like the subjugation of women, like so incredibly, ridiculously.
Well, we paid for it. When the U.S. went in there and funded these radical revolutionaries and then gave them a bunch of weapons to overthrow the Middle East, which was they were gaining power, and that was because they had a lot of oil, right? And oil was the money at the time, so they had to make deals in that sense of like, we need to retain this this Saudi power with this petrodollar that we created. So they're almost obligated to destabilize the rest of these powers to make sure that they can't sell their oil to anybody. And if they try to, we'll bomb them some more.
Yeah, and then they put a target on their back when they joined BRICS.
Yeah,
they're the I in BRICS.
Well, because they don't. Where else are they supposed to turn? They've been cut off from the world economy, not allowed to sell what their resources is. You can't grow anything in the desert, right? You're not gonna. What else are you gonna sell? So when you get cut off from selling the thing,
they're cut off from selling oil, like period, or what do you mean?
Well, like you can't sell like to. You have to trade in the U.S. dollar, right? It's a petrodollar. Mm-hmm. So if you get cut out of that petrodollar scheme of things, like you're stuck dealing with the BRICS nations, you have to sell your oil to Russia. Like you need friends, right? We're just back to creating our own enemies, is what I'm saying. And
it's like, think about what a win it could be in Venezuela. Because like this is where my mind is going. It's like, imagine if the bad guys took over Iran and they're really just like, oh, like, we can't help it. America had nothing to do with it, and like these bad guys took over Iran. And honestly, I don't even think it's that bad of a country. But like from what I've seen, like it seems like the government's bad. Like every other government on the planet is bad to their people, and the people aren't like horrible monsters or anything like that. And so imagine in Argentina right now, what a win it could be. If America isn't literally behind Maduro, which I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying I have any like evidence of that. Like I didn't Google that or didn't like research that or anything. I'm just saying, imagine what a win it could be to be like, we're coming down here to get rid of this freak, so the people down here, can have control of what you want to do, and like maybe you guys will be a better country then, and then we'll start trading with you, like, and everybody can prosper. But instead, they have to do what they're doing now. And it's like, we're just going to go and kill people, even if children die on these boats that Trump is calling drug boats, and seize the property of that country and try to go to literally a actual like bombing war on the ground in freaking Venezuela. Did I say the right word? Did I say Argentina that time? Or the time before?
Yeah, you did.
I'm sorry, I meant Venezuela the whole time.
Well, then you said Maduro, so I...
Yeah, but I just wanted to be clear to the listeners that I wasn't talking about Trump starting a war in Argentina. That would be newsworthy. Because, I mean, it's newsworthy enough that he's trying to start a war in Venezuela and literally admitting it, and people aren't really talking about it as much. Like, I care more about that than the stupid Epstein files.
Well, I think because it's almost a thing that Trump can hold up to, like, the evangelical base, like the anti-drug base, and be like, look, I'm doing something to, fight these drugs coming into the country. So that's why we need to continue bombing Iran, right? Because it's all a game.
He says that
right?
Drugs are coming into the country from Iran.
No, he's just using like, here, look at my trophy. So let me go do this too, right? I mean, it's because we know that the drug boats aren't slowing anything down, right? He's not slowing down the drugs into the country by blowing up what? How many boats has he blown up? 15, 16?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't know how many he's blown up, but it hasn't been in the hundreds. He hasn't blown up hundreds of little fishing boats. He's not slowing down anything. He's just I think we're just blowing up these boats as a way for headlines. Look what we're doing to stop drugs. Look at us. We're stopping drugs.
It seems kind of weird too that, like, I really do believe that what it was behind it the whole time was like getting their oil. It seems so weird that they would go and bomb little boats here and there that you would think would like deter them from swimming around with their Venezuelan oil tankers, but instead they just did that anyway, and then they got their oil tanker taken away too. It just seems weird that they'd start off doing that, because I don't know what, like, seriously, it's weird. Like, everybody has pointed out about the whole Trump bombing Venezuelan drug boats. It's like very weird, random. It doesn't seem to make sense.
Well, it's probably about taking the oil boat. It's
I know,
probably
but it's
not
like,
really
why would they do
about
that first? Why would they make it obvious why wouldn't they sneak attack the oil boat if it was all about the oil boat? You know what I mean? Like, I think it's really weird.
Well,
like,
they
seems to
didn't
make
blow
no
up the
sense.
oil boat, didn't they?
Oh,
just
I
seize
didn't mean
it?
to say blow it up if I said that, but they were blowing up other boats.
Well, you said sneak attack the oil boat.
Yeah, because they attacked it, as in like grabbed it and took it away.
Well, yeah, but
And maybe hurt people. I don't know.
If you just put a bunch of ships down there, you can't just move a bunch of military vessels down there like sneakily, I guess.
Somehow they did it.
Well, no, everybody knew they were coming. Like they said, we're moving ships into the Caribbean.
Oh, are you
set
saying
up
they
this-
needed those there in order to grab the boat?
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
So
Maybe
that's
that
the
was, like-
precedent was these drug boats to move that kind of personnel to create a blockade around Venezuela to where you can move in enough military craft to seize those kinds of tankers.
So you're saying that you think that Trump was pretending that he was there to get the drug boats so that way he could easily grab the tanker?
Yeah, it's a
Maybe that's
justification for a blockade.
And I have heard
of
that
sorts
there's like
that they haven't declared, but why are they seizing oil tankers if there's no blockade?
he literally like why is he doing anything without asking or going the right route that he's supposed to go? Like he literally said, "You will see that. I think you're going to see that this is war." He didn't declare war. Congress didn't declare war. You know what I mean? But so. Another thing I was going to say is, oh yeah, like just a couple weeks ago, we were like, so why, it's so weird, why is there a bunch of, like, National Guard, I think it was, could be wrong about that, in the Caribbean. So, that could be why, yeah. Could be why. But it seems like it's like, I don't know, my point was like, seems like you're like, hey, we're doing stuff here, and it could have potentially, like, sent them the message that's like, hey, don't go near them, but instead they went near it anyway with their oil tanker that they allegedly weren't even supposed to have. Something like that. Seems like dumb is all. But maybe they absolutely had to go that way with their oil, or else they couldn't get it where it was going. I don't know. See what I'm saying?
No, I get it. I mean, I don't know maritime routes or how any of that works with like a ship trying to cross the ocean, especially with something like oil. But I mean, that makes sense. And a lot of it is just like air superiority, right? Can you get your airplanes in the air faster? So you move an aircraft carrier closer to Venezuela. Because a lot of it is just being up in the skies and having eyes everywhere. You get to see what's going on.
What, he did that? He brought aircraft carriers down there?
Yeah. He's moved like a whole command down there. I don't know exactly where they're at, but I think they're like off the coast of Venezuela. And they've been spotted doing movements in international waters, like doing like training stuff in international waters right near Venezuela, like right on the line, like as close as you can get without being there kind of thing.
Yeah, that's creepy. Yeah, I would be creeped out right now if I was in Venezuela as just a regular person, because it's like the America coming and starting a war in your country does not make you feel like, oh, they're coming to save us from hyperinflation and Maduro. It makes you feel like you're about to die, you know? I would be really freaked out. And it's just, it's so weird to be talking about this. It's so weird to be talking about on the ground, blowing people up war in South America from America. Like, it's not normal. And I've said this like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I really do believe that the whole thing where Vivek and Trump were saying, like, we're going to bomb the cartel, that was, like, to make us, like, whoa, that's crazy. But now it's normalized. And now it's like, it's not the cartel right there in Mexico. No. We're just bombing Venezuela, which seems so close to me still, but definitely seems further than Mexico. See what I mean? I mean, literally is further, but I mean, like, it doesn't feel as crazy now because we've been prepped. See what I'm saying? Well,
does that mean they're not prepping us to start bombing Mexico? Because it went from across the ocean to this side of the Atlantic to what's the next step? Or
I just haven't seen any evidence of Trump actually going and trying to bomb Mexico yet. And I don't see how it would get done. Like, literally, it was so crazy that anyone was talking about that. And it would be so stupid with the amount of, like, Mexicans that love Mexico that live in America.
Well, and the amount of vehicles. Think about
Mexico.
how many American vehicles are put together in Mexico.
Well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm like talking about people being so mad that they just bomb us because they're already here. Like,
Well,
there's
how
not a
many
bunch of
Venezuelans
Venezuelans
live here?
Not as many as Mexicans.
That's
They're
fair.
literally right here, and they like the other thing is just the border. Like the idea that you would just be bombing Mexico and it wouldn't bother you at all that like all the Americans in little border towns were about to get murdered. Like, I'm not saying it'd be right, but it would definitely feel like you're doing the right thing if your family just got murdered in Mexico and you could just can walk right over and kill a bunch of Americans. You know what I mean? The average non-nap respecting Mexican might do that.
Well, yeah, it would turn the border states into
Literal like
war zones. Yeah,
Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, that would feel like they were in a war. I don't see that. I don't see anything like that happening anytime soon. And like, it would be to your point, if he starts doing stuff like that, well, maybe I'll start to think like, oh, I guess the Venezuela thing was like a ruse to get us interested in war with Mexico. But I really think that's like, we're not getting into war with Mexico until it's like America is literally like the dollar has crashed and like they are holding on for dear life and they're, I don't even know.
Well,
last resort type thing. That was so insane.
I feel like they don't. This isn't Trump wanting to go to war with Mexico in the next 3 years. This is us trying to set up an excuse to go to war in Mexico in 20 years.
But there is no reason to go to war in Mexico. Like, I seriously don't think it was ever going to happen. I think it was something they were telling us just to be like, by the time Trump was, from the time he was saying it to the time he started doing it, like 2 years. From the time he was saying it to the time he became president, it was like 2 years. It's like, no, we're not going to war with Mexico. Calm down. That's ridiculous. Actually, just Venezuela. And then it's like, oh, that doesn't sound as bad. Well, we do have a caller on the line, so I'm going to see what they have to say. Caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, this is Shane from North Myrtle. I just wanted to comment on the seizing the oil tanker from Venezuela.
Yeah.
I think for the 250th birthday for America, we should take all of their drugs and all of their oil and just get super blitz and all have free gas for like a week.
Super blitz on the drugs?
And everyone just get a free full tank of gas from all the oil we're taking from them. I mean, what's wrong with that? Just like a birthday present for America.
I just think this is what's wrong with it. I don't want my brother in the Air Force or other 18-year-old boys to have to die over that, do you? Do you want 18-year-old boys that are Americans to have to die over that? Like to have, drugs and gas for a week or whatever?
No, that's true. But I say, like, if we can convince the Venezuelans to give us that on their own, we can give them, like, free citizenship or something.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know if I want all of Venezuela to be a citizen. Do you?
Maybe temporary, like, work status or something. I mean, just a situation where everybody sort of, like, wins. I think
that sounds better.
That's a good idea.
Well, it would be voluntary at least.
Yeah, it would be. I just wanted to throw that out there. I love you guys. I love the show, and I will call back some other time, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I think that would be a great birthday gift for America.
Thank you. It is a hilarious idea. It's almost like I keep forgetting that America will be 250 years old next year. It's crazy.
I was just saying, like, you're going to need, like, an X amount of drugs and an X amount of oils, like barrels of oil to get this status, right? Like, you got to figure out a number.
Yeah, but who gets how many drugs? Thank you for the call. 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. Free Talk Live. More coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live.
Don't worry about things you can't control. Isn't that what they always say? But it's about impossible to avoid worrying about what's going on these days. The government has used the war on guns, the war on drugs, and the war on terrorism to tear our Bill of Rights to shreds. But you can fight back. The 10th Amendment Center has proven it, racking up major victories. For example, when the U.S. government claimed authority in the NDAA to have the military kidnap and detain Americans without trial, the nullifiers got a law passed in California, declaring the state's refusal to ever participate in any such thing. Their latest project is offnow.org, nullifying the National Security Agency. They've already gotten model legislation introduced in California, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, meant to limit the power of the NSA to spy on Americans in those states. We'd be fools to wait around for the U.S. Congress or courts to roll back Big Brother. Our best chance is nullification and interposition on the state level. Go to offnow.org, print out that model legislation, and get to work nullifying the NSA. The hero Edward Snowden has risked everything to give us this chance. assets. Let's take it. Offnow.org.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave with the Week in Review. The European Union has agreed to provide Ukraine with a loan worth $105 billion to help finance the country for the next 2 years. Ultimately, the bloc failed to agree on a plan to use frozen Russian assets to fund the loan, instead borrowing the money backed by the EU's common budget. William Denzelo reports from Brussels.
Instead of using frozen Russian assets, Ukraine will receive a reparations loan to the tune of $105 billion coming from funds guaranteed by the common EU budget. Ultimately, the use of those frozen Russian assets proved too politically sensitive for some member states, most namely Belgium, worried about the legal and financial ramifications of using them, as most of those assets reside here in Belgium.
TikTok said this week it signed a joint venture deal with investors that would allow the company to maintain operations in the United States and avoid a ban threat over its Chinese ownership. The deal is a milestone for the short video app used regularly by more than 170 million Americans. Laura Westbrook has more from Hong Kong.
TikTok CEO Shou Zi Chu reportedly told employees that the company and ByteDance signed binding agreements to create a U.S. joint venture, majority owned by American investors. Under the deal, American and global investors will hold an 80.1% stake, while ByteDance will retain a 19.9% stake in the new joint venture after its divestiture. Chu reportedly said there is still more work to be done before the deal is finalized.
In other big news this week, President Trump ordered a total and complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela in a dramatic escalation with the South American nation, which has included strikes against dozens of alleged drug boats and the seizure of an oil tanker. In a social media post, the president also declared the Maduro government a foreign terrorist organization, paving the way for more military action. Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
It's unclear how exactly oil tankers will be stopped from entering or leaving Venezuela, but the U.S. has amassed thousands of troops and nearly a dozen warships in the Caribbean in recent months. It's all part of a pressure campaign to topple the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The Trump administration says it's fighting narco-terrorists, but critics say this is, in part, about oil. Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, and the industry is the main source of income in the country. The Venezuelan government has called this latest threat from President Trump grotesque and warmongering threats.
That was the Week in Review from Feature Story News. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160, and Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny Liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Angelo.
And we didn't really get into this article, so I think we should read a little bit about it. It's so creepy, like this picture of Netanyahu and Trump. They're like holding hands in such a like intimate, creepy way, like all four hands on deck, you know what I mean? Like somebody talking to their grandma that they love. You know, it's just something so weird for like two men talking to each other. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
It's like people that like absolutely like family, basically, is what I didn't mean like anything gay.
Well, I mean, they known each other for years, like before.
Probably. I never knew that, but
I mean,
probably.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, Trump's a billionaire.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure he already liked America. I remember actually that he already liked Israel before he was president, even the first time. His two of his children-in-laws are Jewish, And he talked about like, oh, I want to protect the Jewish Americans whenever he was getting, like coming up on, like, he was running for president in 2016 and 15. And I remember thinking like, nice. And now I just know what that means. It's like, it's their signal that they will do whatever like Netanyahu says. And it's been Netanyahu since I was like a kid. Like, I knew the word Netanyahu, the name Netanyahu, and I knew it was basically in my mind, the president of Israel since I was a little kid. And did he like go away for a little while and come back or something? Because it's like, it seems like he's been in power for so long that it's like crazy to an American mind.
I think there might have been a break of him being prime minister, or like he might have went to president from prime minister and then back. I'm not sure how Israel works. I think it's supposed to be like, I thought there was like two separate guys. Okay. And Bibi's kind of done like a hostile takeover of the government though.
It says, having previously held office from 1996, the year I was born, to 1999, and from 2009 to 2021.
Yeah, so there was a break.
And so I guess, I don't know when this newest one started, though it just isn't telling me right now.
Well, it said 2009, right?
2009 to 2021, though, so like...
Clearly, so what is he right now?
Exactly, like when did this one start? Oh, it says in office June 2021 to December 2022. Maybe it was a quick break in 2021, like maybe he got out in like, something like January 2021 and came back in June 2021. This is all confusing. Like, is he in office right now or not? Because it says in office June 2021 to December 2022. So there's an ending date. But and then the other two that I mentioned are also there. But it is just weird because isn't he in office right now? Oh, it's talking about specific offices. So that one that I just read you was while he has been leader of the opposition. It's the politician who leads the official opposition in the Knesset, I don't know how you say that, the Israeli parliament. So that's what he was at that time. Right now, what he is Prime Minister of Israel incumbent. Assumed office in December 2022. So this run has been since December 2022, but it's like I said, he's been on and off, and it's like maybe he wasn't always prime minister, but he's always been something big. So what started in 1996 was actually him becoming... I lost it, sorry. Him becoming... No, it was him also being leader of the opposition. So there was just multiple runs of that. 3 times has he been the leader of the opposition, which is basically like in New Hampshire we have the leader of the House, and that's like...
Well, isn't there like a minority whip or something?
Exactly. So like the leader of the House, but I'm thinking there's a different name that means the same thing. Right now, the Republicans are the majority. So, the majority leader and the minority leader. Yeah. I guess he was like the majority leader of the Knesset, however you say that, the Israeli parliament. So anyways, and now he's prime minister, but only since 2022. But I'm not joking. His name was like on the news often the whole time I was a kid. Like I knew who Benjamin Netanyahu was when I was a kid. And I thought, oh, probably such a good guy. Like literally.
I just thought he had a funny name.
He does.
I was like, Netanyahu, that's such a... is he American? And they'd be like, no. I said, then why is he on the TV?
Exactly.
Because we're doing stuff in Israel.
I didn't know what he looked like, but
and I'd just be like, oh, okay.
And I would have imagined him looking like super old even back when I was a kid, and it's like, he doesn't seem that old, but
I think when we're a kid, everybody over 30 kind of looks a little bit old.
Yeah, I asked Jacob if he knew how old sometimes co-host Colin is, and guess what he said?
What?
50.
Whoa.
And I don't know if he was serious or not. It's too hard to tell. So, the other thing about it that I was going to say, man, I felt like there was more to that. Oh, yeah. Man, it's not even that serious. I was going to say that when I first heard the name of the governor of New Hampshire when I moved here was Sununu, I was like, there's no way that's... no, I didn't even think that. I legitimately just assumed Arya and Ian, when they be talking about him on the air, were just like making fun of his real name. That it was actually like Sununupur or something, and they were like making fun of it, and they were calling it Sununu because it sounds like such a joke.
But it is Sununu.
It is Sununu. And when I found out what literally was Sununu, I was like, I thought you guys were joking. You're like making fun of the name.
That's hilarious.
It's so weird. It's apparently some kind of Middle Eastern name. It's like, I think they're from Lebanese, but he looks like a white blonde guy.
Well, hasn't his family been in politics here for like isn't it like a multi-generational thing?
Yeah, but it was only like his grandpa, that it was that recent. His grandpa was a Lebanese person that went to Cuba and then came to America. So he's like Lebanese, Cuban, and white, some kind of white. And he just looks like a white blonde Nordic guy. It's crazy. I don't know if I'd go as far as Nordic. He's not like skinny.
Is he tall?
He seems tall to me. I've seen him in real life, but he was also far away. Sununu, the youngest one, I think he's Chris Sununu. There we go, Chris Sununu.
But he's not the governor now, right?
No, the governor is now Kelly Ayotte, and she's used to be a cop. And she ran like she was going to be a serious Republican person and vetoed all of the good anti-tranny bills. Like the bills that'll keep like trannies out of important like women's spaces like birthing centers and stuff like that. Okay, I don't want to be really specific and say that she vetoed specifically that one. I don't remember now, but she was vetoing ones that I'm in a group that's like XX Women New Hampshire, meaning like XX chromosomes.
Yeah.
And they really are not happy with her. Like she ran on being like this, like I'm a Republican. And it's like, you're an ex-cop, you're not even going to be good on the one thing that like I want you to be good on, like that like a Republican would be good on. It's like, I don't like her. I don't really like her at all.
Well, no, because why would they ever actually fulfill anything they tell you they're going to do?
Or do things that are just like generally good for people?
No, they never want to make a positive change in anybody's life. That's, God forbid the government ever does that.
This is kind of funny. I'm not going to get into this article, but I see president's, I assume it means Trump, president's abysmal crowd size exposed while bored supporters check phones. That's hilarious. It just really seems like he just threw away like becoming like a legend. Not that he won't be like literally like legendary, as in like there will be books written about him, but I feel like he literally could have went down in at least a lot of people's minds as like an amazing
like a
guy.
Greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Like a GOAT.
Exactly. But instead he just threw that away and isn't doing anything that his fan base wants at all. It's really weird.
Well, not just fan base. They're not just fans. They're voters. They're the people who supposedly gave him the power to do all of these things, right? That they're not just fans.
Yeah.
He kind of has a responsibility to them to fulfill what he said he was gonna do. I mean, he's not. I think it's silly to think any politician is gonna fulfill on their promises.
But he seemed
right
to do
now.
better the first time even than this time. Like, I know he didn't completely build the wall, which is a kind of weird thing that I haven't thought of in a long time. Like, is he going to do that or, like, continue?
No, that's over. I think that's done.
Not that I want him to. I'm just saying, like, I haven't even, like, heard talk of it in so long. Like, is he just, like, done with that? But so I know he didn't build the wall, but there were a lot of things that he did to where something he made a pretty good case that he, like, did more things he told his constituents he was going to do than, like, any other president. Then he came in strong, freeing Ross Ulbricht and doing other things like freeing the January 6 people, where it really seemed like what he's doing or not. Let's say, like, I'm being completely neutral. Like, I'm not even, like, just counting, like, oh, he said he was going to free Ross because I wanted him to. But I'm just saying he said he was going to do that, and he actually did. He came in kind of strong on that, and then he just, like, not just fell off. Like, he did a 180. Like, he started doing things like people, even actual Republicans now, like, they don't want him to be a neocon, and they liked that about him. Like, actual MAGA people were being like, we just want to focus America first for a while, guys. Like, we don't even want wars. That's literally what MAGA people were saying. And now he's like not doing America first things and talking about like expanding the H-1B visas. Is that what they're called? H-1B visas?
Yeah.
And things like that. Like, that is, like it or not, I'm not saying I'm pro that or anti that. I'm just saying that's not what the MAGA people wanted. He is going full 180 and not just doing like things that they kind of don't like, but doing the exact opposite of what they wanted. And war, I think, is one of those things. So I do want to get into this article from NBC News. Netanyahu plans to brief Trump on possible new Iran strikes. Israeli officials believe Iran is expanding its ballistic missiles program. Oh, sure. Don't they say that like every day and they end up being wrong, or like they say something new about it? Like, well, we're watching them and we think they just went underground. We're watching them. We think they built a nuke. And they're always wrong. It's always their excuse to go and attack Iranians. Besides, it's like, are they not? I mean, I guess they literally aren't allowed to have missiles. All right? But like, who gets to say one country isn't allowed to have missiles and the other one is? Like, I don't know. I don't know the history behind that. Do you?
I think it's like treaties. There's like nuclear treaties.
But are ballistic missiles, that's different, right? It's not exactly like a nuke, I think.
Well, I think the object is to put a nuclear warhead within a ballistic missile and send it. Right? Because an ICBM is an intercontinental ballistic missile that you could supposedly send across thousands of miles, right? Across the planet.
Wow.
But then you put a nuclear warhead into that, and then that's a nuclear rocket.
So it says Israeli officials believe that Iran is expanding its ballistic missile program. They are preparing to make the case during an upcoming meeting with Trump that it poses a new threat. So Israeli officials have grown increasingly concerned that Iran is expanding production of its ballistic missiles program, which was damaged by Israeli military strikes earlier this year, and are prepared to brief President Trump about options for attacking it again. Why does America have to help? According to a person with direct knowledge of the plans, and Netanyahu's his own leak. Every time I see, like, according to a person with direct knowledge, I'm like, if that's what they say about, like, so say it's like a celebrity, like, I don't know, like Taylor Swift. But according to Taylor Swift, you just went and hit up TMZ, didn't you? You know what I mean? So, anyways, and they plan. According to a person with direct knowledge of the plans, and 4 former U.S. officials briefed on the plans. Israeli officials are also concerned that Iran is reconstituting nuclear enrichment sites. What exactly is that? Is that like mining?
No, it has something to do with like the rock itself has the radioactive material in it. You have to do something to extract, to like isolate it, I guess. And then you can put it into a bomb, like, because you can't just put the rock into an explosive device. That's not how that works. You have to like extract the material out of, like, from source. Does that make sense?
Through a process.
Yeah, it's just like processing it down to where you can use it.
It says they added the officials view Iran's efforts to rebuild facilities where they produce the ballistic missiles and to repair its crippled air defense systems as more immediate concerns. Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are expected to meet later this month in Florida at the president's Mar-a-Lago estate.
Wait. The problem is that they're rebuilding the air defenses you just blew up?
I guess
Are they not allowed to have air defenses?
Yeah, that's a good point. Defense isn't exactly the same exact thing as ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are expected to meet later this month in Florida at the president's Mar-a-Lago estate. Isn't it kind of weird now that, like, he doesn't just hang out at the White House, like, he hangs out at his mansion? Like, I feel like, did any other president do that? Like, honestly, I just don't know.
Yeah, Bush went down to the ranch. So I'm going to the ranch.
Like, was that, like, every day, or, like,
well, that was the joke, was that, don't talk to me, I'm heading to the ranch.
But was that just a joke, or was that, like, literally...
I don't know how much time he spent there, but I knew they used it as a slap at him, that he spent enough time down there that...
That it was like...
It was a joke. It was enough
when they make fun of the presidents for golfing or something.
Yeah, well, like, Joe Biden wasn't at the White House a ton. He did a lot of stuff from Connecticut.
Really?
Yeah, he spent a lot of time at his home in Connecticut.
I didn't know that. This seems like a thing that at least gets mentioned way more to me as somebody who's been, like, around the news my whole entire life. Like, I'd never heard about, like, in like Netanyahu's going to meet Bush at the ranch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like this is way more prominent than any other president, but I could be wrong. But it says, at that meeting, the sources said Netanyahu is expected to make the case to Trump that Iran's expansion of its ballistic missile program poses a threat that could necessitate swift action. And it shows a picture. It says a sign in Tehran on December 7th features an image of a university student holding a model of a satellite carrier along with Persian script that reads, "For a better Iran, its missile is on me. I will send it into orbit." What? So, that's so funny. Anyways, more of this coming up, but we have a caller on the line. Turd Ferguson from Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind, Turd?
Well, speaking of the un-blankification of everything in the world right now.
Yeah, that's why I titled the show. I don't think Angelo knows that, or maybe some listeners. I called it, I said, we're tired of the S-ification of everything. S, as in the bad word that I can't say on the air. Maybe I should have thought of a better title, but because I can't say it on the air. But go ahead.
The unpoopification.
Yeah, thank you.
The Silent Hill 2 movie's coming out in about 1 month exactly, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great movie. James Sunderland is a great character. James Sunderland did what he had to do, not because it was him doing it, but because it was his trauma. It was his trauma resurfacing. He was a good man. He made a mistake. James Sunderland's one of the best characters of video games of all time.
Have you seen this?
Long live Silent Hill.
I played the games when I was a kid, but it's one of those things where it's like I remember playing the game, but I don't remember the game. I just remember running around doing the things.
So I don't know anything about the story, but I gotta say, forgetting like the specific movie you're talking about altogether, part of the like kind of like the theory of the poopification of everything involves sequels. I gotta say, like, unless a sequel comes out and is like so good, like the Matrix 4 Reloaded was so good that I think it doesn't fall under the category of the poopification of everything. But if it's even just as good or worse than the last movie, then it's like kind of part of the poopification of everything, because it's like we want new things, like not just only we're going to make a movie based off Alice in Wonderland again, or we're going to make a movie that's like the bad guys. Oh yeah, we like seeing the bad guys' point of view from the like Cinderella movie all of a sudden. Like, yeah, we want to see the stepmothers. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Look, I see where you're coming from, and I'm going to address it. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Cruella was a great movie, to be clear. But and Emma Stone is sexy still, even as an older woman. But here's the thing. Much like Terminator 2 Judgment Day was for film, Silent Hill 2 is one of the greatest sequel video games of all time. And so good, I mean, they just remade it a year ago. They wouldn't have done, I mean, they skipped all the other ones. They skipped the first one and remade the second one. And on top of that, James Sunderland is like well known that he is like basically maybe the single greatest video game character of all time. Maybe with the exception of, you know, like maybe Ellie from The Last of Us, or like maybe like Jill Valentine or someone like that. Like James Sunderland, legitimately, like strictly from a character standpoint, he is the greatest video game character of all time.
I gotta ask, who is he in the movie? Because I've never seen it.
So James Sunderland, I can't go too far into it because it'll ruin the ending, seriously. Okay. And the ending is a big reveal, and it's a horror movie, but it's kind of also a mystery movie. You know what I mean? But like the short answer is like James Sunderland, his wife died of cancer, supposedly. Okay. And he gets a letter from her 3 years later telling him, even though she's dead, telling him to come to Silent Hill, which is obviously crazy because she's dead. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, he takes it seriously and he goes to Silent Hill. And then the rest is horror. And it comes to a big revelation at the end, which I don't want to give away.
Okay.
I'll give it away. I'll call back in a month after people have had the opportunity to see it, and then I'll give it away.
Oh, Silent Hill 2 is coming out like soon, like this month?
It's coming out January 21st, 22nd, something like that.
Yeah, that's like right around a month.
Well, they need to wait longer than that.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's fine. I'll give it like a week after or something. I'm gonna see. I'll probably see it in a preview and then I'll probably write an article about it on endingpolitics.com. I'll try not to include any spoilers, but he is the greatest character of all time, and this is going to be a great movie. It's probably going to be the best video game movie maybe ever, with maybe the exception of like the Super Mario Brothers movie that just came out like 3 years ago or something.
Oh, I guess I didn't think about that. I always assumed Silent Hill was a movie first and then a video game.
No,
it was a video game first, and then it was a movie in 2006. And that movie, the audience liked it, the critics didn't, and it was okay. There were some of it that was pretty scary, and the ending was tragic. The ending was, even though they were kind of like walking around, like Rose went back to her husband's house, but like they couldn't really talk, and neither could her daughter talk to her husband either, because Rose and Sharon both died in Silent Hill. That was basically like the end of the movie, right? Which was sad. But this movie is going to be way better. And even if James Sunderland does die in Silent Hill, it doesn't matter, because the ending is the reveal, which is going to be amazing. It's going to be an awesome movie. James Sunderland is a great character. Mark my words. This movie is going to make you splooge. It's going to make you spooge in your pants.
Gross. Anyways, well, I could see that being a thing that's not part of the poopification of everything if it just comes out and it's really good. And yeah, I guess movies should have the right to continue themselves if they're really good. Like all four Matrix movies, I believe, that like have a place. You know, they're not just like
I don't
fluff.
know. I mean, see, that's where we're going to disagree, because the Matrix was obviously an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought the rest of them were kind of weak. I'm not going to lie.
Well,
kind of weak.
I disagree. 1 and 2, think that it's nothing like what we're really talking about here. Like, I can't think of a really good example off the top of my head. Like being
the Fast and Furious.
I've never seen those.
They're all. I mean, we're at like 11 or.
Well, okay, exactly. If there's 11, there's no way that number 11 is necessary at all. It's like literally just a money grab.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But on the other hand, look, Dune was an amazing movie. I love Dune. Dune 2022, but Dune 2024, Dune 2 was amazing. Dune 2 was better than the first one. I think everyone will agree with that.
Okay.
So sometimes they get it right.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes they do, so maybe Silent Hill can be that. But another thing is just like, say they're all great. What it still isn't amazing to go look at what's playing. So what's playing in the movies, and you look it up, and it's like nothing but sequels. Like maybe you just want something new sometimes too. But you know, I'm not saying that specific movie is part of it, but we're gonna get into what the poopification of everything is and why people are tired of it, and why I honestly am like white-pilled about it, that it's gonna go away. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave with the Week in Review. The European Union has agreed to provide Ukraine with a loan worth $105 billion to help finance the country for the next 2 years. Ultimately, the bloc failed to agree on a plan to use frozen Russian assets to fund the loan, instead borrowing the money backed by the EU's common budget. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
Instead of using frozen Russian assets, Ukraine will receive a reparations loan to the tune of $105 billion coming from funds guaranteed by the common EU budget. Ultimately, the use of those frozen Russian assets proved too politically sensitive for some member states, most namely Belgium, worried about the legal and financial ramifications of using them, as most of those assets reside here in Belgium.
TikTok said this week it signed a joint venture deal with investors that would allow the company to maintain operations in the United States and avoid a ban threat over its Chinese ownership. The deal is a milestone for the short video app used regularly by more than 170 million Americans. Laura Westbrook has more from Hong Kong.
TikTok CEO Shou Chu reportedly told employees that the company and ByteDance signed binding agreements to create a U.S. joint venture, majority owned by American investors. Under the deal, American and global investors will hold an 80.1% stake, while ByteDance will retain a 19.9% stake in the new joint venture after its divestiture. Chu reportedly said there is still more work to be done before the deal is finalized.
In other big news this week, President Trump ordered a total and complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela in a dramatic escalation with the South American nation, which has included strikes against dozens of alleged drug boats and the seizure of an oil tanker. In a social media post, the president also declared the Maduro government a foreign terrorist organization, paving the way for more military action. Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
It's unclear how exactly oil tankers will be stopped from entering or leaving Venezuela, but the U.S. has amassed thousands of troops and nearly a dozen warships in the Caribbean in recent months. It's all part of a pressure campaign to topple the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The Trump administration says it's fighting narco-terrorists, but critics say this is, in part, about oil. Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, and the industry is the main source of income in the country. The Venezuelan government has called this latest threat from President Trump grotesque and warmongering threats.
Over to India, and New Delhi has been cracking down on polluting vehicles as a toxic smog continued to engulf the city. Officials said vehicles that don't adhere to emission standards will not be allowed to purchase fuel. Ishan Garg has more from New Delhi.
The No Pollution Under Control certificate, no fuel policy effectively bars thousands of vehicles from refueling. This comes as New Delhi and its National Capital Region neighbours now comprise India's entire top 10 list of most polluted cities. While farm fires have receded, data shows local sources like construction, dust and vehicular exhaust now drive over 40% of the pollution load. Environment Minister Manjinder Singh Sirsa has invoked strict anti-pollution measures, ordering 50% of government and private office staff to work from home. As winter traps pollutants inside Delhi's airspace, authorities are betting that forcibly thinning traffic will finally help.
And finally, the board of entertainment giant Warner Bros. Discovery instructed its shareholders to reject a hostile takeover bid from Paramount Skydance, favouring the offer proposed by its competitor, Netflix. Mitch McCann reports.
In a news release on Wednesday, Warner Bros. Discovery told shareholders that the offer it first accepted from Netflix for its studio and streaming assets was superior to the one being offered by Paramount Skydance. The chair of the WBD board wrote in the release that following a careful evaluation of Paramount's recently launched tender offer, the board concluded that the offer's value is inadequate, with significant risks and costs imposed on our shareholders. Paramount has claimed that the offer has the full backstop of the Ellison family, with Chief Executive David Ellison, the son of Oracle billionaire Larry Ellison, leading the bid, something Warner Bros. Discovery disputes, saying it would have appreciated greater involvement from Larry Ellison in the deal.
That was the Week in Review from Feature Story News. I'm Jagrati Dave in Washington.
In a deal policymakers have hailed as a decisive step towards combating the rapidly escalating national debt, the United States settled 0.12% of its debt to China this week with a single autographed photograph of John Hamm. The sale of the glossy signed headshot of the acclaimed actor, which China reportedly accepted for a financial easement of approximately $150 out of America's estimated $1.3 trillion in obligations, concludes a 6-month negotiation between the two parties.
The decision was obviously not an easy one, but without question, this was the right choice for our nation's future.
And in this week's science news, a distant planet is terrified that it might be able to someday support human life. In other news, a live cow is lowered onto the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. The majority of an office's supplies are used to apply for different jobs, and a lapsed cult member only attends sanctum on major bloodletting holidays.
This is the Onion News Network.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. And I'd like to thank Dale for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Dale went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Dale and everyone who supports us, and again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. Thank you so much, Dale, and everyone who supports us, and with you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Angelo.
And we have callers on the line already. We were talking about Iran maybe possibly being about to get bombed by Israel and the United States again, so we'll get back into that, but first, what you guys on the phones have to talk about, we have Dave Ridley. Dave Ridley, you're in, I assume, Colorado. What's on your mind?
I am, that's correct. Smart contracts and AI.
Okay.
So one of the pundits, one of the AI pundits, has this theory that to solve AI, we almost need to solve the human question, the human problem, and make humans more trustworthy, which seems to me to be impossible, of course, at least over the short term. But smart contracts and Bitcoin both are institutions or technologies that sort of do make people trustworthy because they make it unnecessary to trust people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think trustless technology is important because you don't have to trust somebody that they sent you a payment. It's just there immediately, and it's something that you can verify yourself, like at least Bitcoin or at least cryptocurrency that's on a public ledger. You can verify it yourself. You don't have to trust anyone or any system. Yeah.
So I guess it's a call out to the crypto community. If you're a smart contracts expert, maybe you actually have a role in solving the AI alignment problem or the existential risks from AI, because smart contracts could, I mean, I don't know exactly how that would work, but they seem to be something that could be a bridge there.
I'm not sure what is a smart contract. I don't even know.
Well,
sorry, I'm in the dark here, so I
it's like it's basic. I'm not the best person to get a definition from, as I'm
pulled
not
one up.
focused on that.
If you want me to read
Go for it.
It says a smart contract is a self-executing digital agreement with terms written directly into code, living on a blockchain, that automatically enforces, verifies, and executes actions when predefined conditions are met, eliminating the need for intermediaries like lawyers or banks. Oh, okay. I had just the littlest bit of an idea. I just knew it was a contract on the blockchain, but not all these little details. That's pretty interesting.
So is that somehow you could sell your house through a blockchain, through this contract?
Maybe it's as soon as the amount of crypto goes from one part to the other and the ledger knows that, then the ledger automatically changes your name on the title. For example, it says, think of it like a digital vending machine. Input the correct payment conditions and the machine automatically dispenses the item. Execution. Ensuring a transparent, tamper-proof, and efficient process for transactions and agreements. Sounds like exactly what I just said, so...
But it can build it holds on to the money you put into it until you get to that amount, and then it'll execute.
I don't know about holding on to it, but it could be I just don't know. That could be a thing, but it could be just all right, once we see that this person was paid this much, because we can see that on the ledger. Once we see that happened, then we change the title of the house or whatever it is.
That makes sense.
Says how they work. Code and blockchain. The contract's code contains if, when, then logic and is deployed onto a decentralized blockchain network. Automatic execution. When network participants meet the specified conditions, e.g., a date passes, funds are received, data is verified, then code runs automatically. So that's really interesting. Dave, what now try to tie it into AI for us.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not the brilliant guy who can actually do that. This is what they say is the most important scientists are the ones who take something that seems unconnected to something else and figures out a way to connect it, or just thinks of the idea of the two things together. That they say that's what makes the great scientist or the great, philosopher. And I don't know how to do that. I am not either.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It could get somebody who's into this kind of stuff, get their gears turning, but I don't know the answer either to that.
One thing that I do know is that the closer we get to the singularity, the more we're understanding that this technology, it's not really about engineering, it's about civics. And there is even one guy who sort of set up something that looks a little bit like the Free State Project, reminds me of the Free State Project.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bunch of people who, kind of gathering together to do something with AI. And I don't remember the details. It wasn't something that really, I didn't think it was very promising. But everyone who talks about this seems to keep coming to the same conclusion that this is really more about philosophy, ethics, and civics than it is about technology.
Well, that makes sense because I think, what the technology can do has basically been done now. I don't really think we're on the brink of, in my personal opinion, I really don't think it's in the next few months we're going to have actual intelligence. I think this is what the technology is. Now what's going to be done with it?
Yeah, we don't want to underestimate our importance in this sphere, even though we're not scientists. Libertarians have something to bring to the table. I'm not completely sure exactly what it is beyond the zero aggression principle and cryptocurrency, but there's something I feel like there's just something the universe wants us to do about this. The only thing I know how to do is write articles and call talk radio, but I feel a little bit like a Greek philosopher trying to start a space program. It's just so far above me and beyond me. I just know it's important.
Well, thank you for the call. Dave, is there anything else on your mind?
That is all. Thanks, guys.
If anybody's listening and they think that they have, an idea about that, it'd be an interesting call. 603-283-6160. I wanted to get a little more detail about this war in Iran, so I'm going to read a little bit into it. It says, they, the people, the sources, said that part of his argument is expected to be that Iran's actions present perils not only to Israel, but also to the broader region. Of course, like, they have to come up with something that people will get behind, and nobody's going to care if they just say, like, well, Israel, we all want to defend Israel, right? No one cares.
Yeah, that doesn't work anymore. It's over.
The Israeli leader is expected to present Trump with options for the U.S. to join or assist in any new military operations. Asked Thursday about a December 29th meeting with Netanyahu, Trump told reporters, "We haven't set it up formally, but he'd like to see me." The Israeli government declined to comment. The Iranian mission at the United Nations did not respond to requests for comment. Well, that I don't want to read just a bunch of details at the bottom, but
what date was this Mar-a-Lago thing set up for?
The 29th.
Oh, okay. So after Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think
and
it's
Hanukkah.
just and Hanukkah. What day is like the last day of Hanukkah?
I don't know, honestly. I know it was already going on.
And yeah, I know it started. I just don't know what the last day is.
Well, it's definitely going to be past Hanukkah by then because it's only 8 days.
Oh, okay.
The last day of Hanukkah 2025 is going to be the 22nd.
Oh, all right.
I completely forgot to wear anything Christmassy, and it's like I did the last two shows, and it's kind of funny considering like that was like a week and 2 weeks before Christmas, and this is going to be the closest one
to
Christmas, but I totally forgot. And I'm not on tomorrow, but so I don't know, kind of interesting thought. Like, how can I think there's a lot of like interesting tech that no one has really. Okay, I'm gonna say no one, and somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, you don't know about this crypto entrepreneur doing this," but I'm like, has somebody used a DAO, the decentralized autonomous organizations, for something like that's gone mainstream and been like, whoa, this is a huge answer to our problems we've been having here and there? Like, I don't know of any, honestly. Like, I know Dash exists. I'm not saying no one uses DAOs for any reason that's good at all. I'm not saying that, but it's like, I feel like there's a lot of potential there that maybe it hasn't really hit yet. And the reason is that new technology that actually has a learning curve is too hard for people. It has a learning curve. Like, people won't just jump right into like, oh, I'm going to start a business, I'll make it a DAO, if they're brand new to the subject. You know what I mean? Like, even people have talked to me about like, oh, what if we turned ForkFest into a DAO and people got to put money in, and it's a decentralized autonomous organization. It's a way of organizing a cryptocurrency to where like the stockholders basically, like, I know I'm using the words wrong, can basically earn votes by how, like, if you own this much of the Dash, then you get to vote on what Dash does because it's a DAO.
So what do you mean what Dash does, as in?
Like, if they want to break off, like, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, well, they'll put it to a vote, literally. And people with more Dash get more vote.
I see.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think all Dash have to be set up the same way. So maybe there's some Dash, or DAO, I meant to say DAOs. Maybe there are some DAOs that don't vote. But the main thing I'm trying to say is, like, people have even asked me, like, what if we made ForkFest a DAO and people got to make decisions about ForkFest? And it's like, all right, are you going to program that? And even if you did, are you going to be able to actually get people on board with doing it? Like, seriously, I don't think that's easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's hard to change people's minds, period.
It's been like,
I mean, how hard has it been to get people onto crypto?
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. It's been like really hard to get people onto crypto at all, period. And it's been like huge strides, and it's been amazing to see how many people, how mainstream it's gone, not just in people having knowledge of it, but people having actual, like, using it, you know what I mean? But either way, it's still not something that, like, you know, people aren't going to Walmart and using cryptocurrency. So that's how much more it's not mainstream enough. And the DAO is even less mainstream. And the social, or the smart contracts are even less mainstream. You see what I'm saying?
I think as soon as you can get places like Amazon or eBay, like, if you can use it for your online retailers, I think that would help crypto a lot, because I mean, everybody just uses online retailers now anyways.
Well, it actually is kind of an interesting segue into the the title I named the streams online, the crapification of everything. It's an interesting segue because my point was going to be, my next thing I was going to say was, people don't want to get off social media. People now, they don't go onto the internet and type in some website's URL and they're all on different things. No, people like are all on the same things, and it's always social media instead of like being on a website. Instead of being on a website, you're reading like someone else's tweet about a thing instead of somebody's personal blog about many things. Like, I think that's part of the crapification of everything. Blogs just aren't a thing anymore.
We've consolidated the traffic down to 4 or 5 websites.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's part of the crapification of everything. It's like, it's instead of being able to read a whole blog, you're only being able to read like short tweets of people, well, unless they buy Twitter. And then it's like, well, they bought Twitter, so now they have an incentive to make money, so they aren't going to talk about what they wanted to talk about. They're going to rage bait, and it's like everything gets crappier and crappier because of it.
Yeah, that's why I like Substack. I think Substack is a better one.
I like it too.
Because it allows for more like full length, 12 to 14 page articles where you can really flesh out some of these topics that are more highbrow and that need more than just a paragraph or two to really get down to the specifics, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I like YouTube more than any other social media thing now because I don't watch TikTok like short form videos like almost ever. The only resort I ever go to TikTok is when I'm like really tired and I'm like, oh, I want to see what a specific person is talking about, something like that, and then I go to TikTok. But for the most part, like if I'm going to learn about like my Gypsy Rose, if I need my Gypsy Rose fix and I'm going to go see what people are saying about what she did now, I go to YouTube, not TikTok, because it's like, it feels like it's great for getting an idea out there, because that's literally, for example, I'm not going to go off about Gypsy Rose again, but people do need to see the new videos, and I should probably talk about that at some point. But I heard about the idea, hey, maybe the Gypsy Rose story isn't everything that you thought it was, and the mainstream media has sold you a lie. That's like, hey, that's interesting. And I was like, where do they have their info? I want to know what they're talking about. And then I didn't actually get it or get the full story until I got to YouTube and found the same creators on YouTube. Does that make sense? Like,
well, yeah, I just think long form content, right, is, I like it. I'm done with like the short videos.
I just don't even know how you actually learn something at all on TikTok. It's like, yeah, you can get like, whoa, this is interesting. Now I want to go look into it. But some people, that's all they do. Some people, all they do is TikTok. And I can't
yeah, they go, wow, that's cool. Wow, that's cool. Wow,
exactly.
That's cool.
That's so stupid. Seriously, it's like actually like an irritating platform for me to go onto. And for some reason, YouTube is even better on the short form side, because it's like, I feel like on TikTok, you won't make a whole bunch of like part 1s and part 2s as often, because like you want everything to be a big hit, and just a part 2 of a story time is not going to do well. So it's like on YouTube, for whatever reason, they don't care about that. It's like I always see these short form things with people decorating not decorating, but like renovating their houses, and I'll actually go to their account and find part 2, and then I actually really like their short form stuff because I can continue watching like what's going on instead of like a one-off thing that lasts 30 seconds. I just don't get it. I
think a YouTube the YouTube algorithm almost feels easier to train for stuff like that.
That's a good point, because TikTok just shows me like a whole lot of crap, seriously.
Yeah, I feel like you can train a YouTube algorithm pretty easy to like show you I guess like brain positive, like learning things, like somebody who's remodeling their house and they kind of go through the process of that, and then you can go watch all of their shorts at once.
Yeah, if you wanted to actually learn how to do it, yeah, you wouldn't.
Or not. I guess yeah, you wouldn't go to TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these people are really trying to like document what they're doing, and they use YouTube for that, not TikTok.
Exactly, that's 100% true. It's just like even the quality of people who post on short form is better on YouTube. I don't know why that really is, considering it's both like the same form. But the main point of what I'm saying is more about the crapification of everything. I think, and it's one reason I don't care much. Like, I'm not saying it's not important at all, but I don't like obsess like Dave Ridley about AI is gonna do something horrible to us all, because like, and I did when it first came out, because like at the beginning when it first came out, I thought, oh, we're just seconds away from it turning into like super intelligence genuinely. And Chris Wade really, Penguin really is the one that convinced me that like that's not anywhere near happening, because it's like just a different technology. That would be like something that has nothing to even do with large language models. There we go. It's like that would be such a different technology. It'd be such a bigger step. It would be like as if we went from the printing press to the iPhone. So I'm glad that Chris Wade explained that to me. Dang it, why am I doing that? I meant to say Mr. Penguin explained that to me. But I'm not really that afraid that it's going to take over. And in another reason I'm not really that afraid to take over, this is a thing that I thought in my own head and said on the show in like 2022. If AI really does, there was always this topic that Aria, Ian, and I, when we did shows in like 2022, we were always talking about like this idea that artists are mad about AI and they want to like ban it from using their things. And like, I'm even against that. Like, it's stupid to think that you can't put a thing out, and you can put something out that you drew, for example, and just expect that no one else will ever be inspired by it. And that's exactly what humans do when they see other people's art and then they draw. It's you can't ban that from happening. So it makes no sense to ban your art from being made to inspire AI. It makes no sense. You can't stop it. It's stupid.
The greats used to run schools. The great artists ran schools to teach students to how to mimic their style in art. Right? So, and that would be, if you had a lot of people trying to mimic how you drew something, wouldn't that mean you're really good at drawing something? Like,
yeah,
that makes you one of the greats, right? You have hundreds of students.
And it's like, say somebody goes and tries to copy your painting exactly and makes more money off it than you. This is the point I've made to Turd, because Turd is pro IP laws, because he said like, well, if I put all this effort into making a song and you come and make the exact same song and make more money, if it's not fair. It literally is fair, because for whatever reason, here's an example. Say, oops, I Did It Again came out same year, I think it was 1997 or something, or maybe 1999. Say that song came out, but it was a disgusting, hideous, like, ugly, fat lady with a giant mole on her forehead. The exact same song, though, and it sounded exactly the same. Would it have gone so, I don't even know, 1 million platinum or whatever, and like became one of the most iconic songs of all time? No, it wouldn't, because the thing is, maybe you wrote the song, Turd. Sorry, I'm like definitely picking on him and his like favorite topic, and he can't even call back. But maybe you drew the picture, but for whatever reason, people wanted to buy it from the other person, and it's like you have no control over that. I genuinely, like, I am against all laws like that, where yes, I literally like draw things, and I am not pro the idea of using government force to stop someone from copying my drawing and selling it, because like I'd be doing something wrong if I couldn't sell my own drawing and someone else could. Like, there's more than one skill involved here if you're trying to make money. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
get better at
sense.
selling.
Like, if you can make a better version of a product than me, like, you can refine it more and make it better and sell as like the same thing but like a superior version of, then you should be able to do that.
Yeah,
right?
And it's better for the
that's
whole
just
world.
competition.
Like, if Walmart steals your idea and sells it to people, and it makes 1 million people's lives better, and it makes the world more efficient, and they sold it more efficiently, you still can sell your thing and say, well, mine's the original, or we want to pay more for the original, or mine's more like handcrafted, it's not made of plastic. And there's going to be a market for that, but because people still obviously want the product. But the world is better as a whole with you letting that go to the world instead of just holding it onto it yourself. And you can still make money. But anyways, 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave with the Week in Review. The European Union has agreed to provide Ukraine with a loan worth $105 billion to help finance the country for the next 2 years. Ultimately, the bloc failed to agree on a plan to use frozen Russian assets to fund the loan, instead borrowing the money backed by the EU's common budget. William Denzelo reports from Brussels.
Instead of using frozen Russian assets, Ukraine will receive a reparations loan to the tune of $105 billion coming from funds guaranteed by the common EU budget. Ultimately, the use of those frozen Russian assets proved too politically sensitive for some member states, most namely Belgium, worried about the legal and financial ramifications of using them, as most of those assets reside here in Belgium.
TikTok said this week it signed a joint venture deal with investors that would allow the company to maintain operations in the United States and avoid a ban threat over its Chinese ownership. The deal is a milestone for the short video app used regularly by more than 170 million Americans. Laura Westbrook has more from Hong Kong.
TikTok CEO Shou Chu reportedly told employees that the company and ByteDance signed binding agreements to create a US joint venture, majority owned by American investors. Under the deal, American and global investors will hold an 80.1% stake, while ByteDance will retain a 19.9% stake in the new joint venture after its divestiture. Chu reportedly said there is still more work to be done before the deal is finalized.
In other big news this week, President Trump ordered a total and complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela in a dramatic escalation with the South American nation, which has included strikes against dozens of alleged drug boats and the seizure of an oil tanker. In a social media post, the president also declared the Maduro government a foreign terrorist organization, paving the way for more military action. Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
It's unclear how exactly oil tankers will be stopped from entering or leaving Venezuela, but the U.S. has amassed thousands of troops and nearly a dozen warships in the Caribbean in recent months. It's all part of a pressure campaign to topple the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The Trump administration says it's fighting narco-terrorists, but critics say this is, in part, about oil. Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, and the industry is the main source of income in the country. The Venezuelan government has called this latest threat from President Trump grotesque and warmongering threats.
That was the Week in Review from Feature Story News. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Angelo.
And if you're tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites, our server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. And we do have callers on the line already, so let's go to the calls. 603-283-6160 is the number, and David in San Francisco, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Oh, yeah, howdy. I heard you talking about the Dow a couple of minutes ago, and I take it that you're talking about the Dow Jones.
Oh, no. Sorry. I wondered if a couple times I was saying that and it sounded like that, or if nobody knew what I was talking about. I was talking about DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. But what did you want to say? It's fine if you want to change the subject to the Dow Jones.
Well, I'd be interested in hearing what that's defined as, but in terms of defining the ratings of organizations, small companies, big companies, corporations, things like that. And then as you were talking about Dow before, it sounded like emerging companies that haven't been able to get rated were having trouble getting established because they weren't being rated, and then whether or not there was some organization that was competing against the Dow Jones, for example.
Is there one?
I know that there were green organizations in the last 20 years that were trying to set up such standards, and I can't think of any offhand, but I know that there have been attempts to do that. And so especially the idea of doing good as opposed to doing what standard business practices demand. And one of the big bits of news in the last week out here in San Francisco was the San Francisco has decided to sue the big junk food manufacturers because they have a business practice of poisoning the public. And how can these companies be rated on a business scale if their business model is to actually poison the public? And then not only to deny that they're doing it, but then, as you might notice, yesterday the House of Representatives refused to extend the Affordable Health Care Act. And if there are companies that are actively out there poisoning people, giving them diabetes, giving them cancer, all sorts of different things, and then there's a healthcare industry that cashes in on providing expensive medical care, and then we've got a guy like Bobby Kennedy Jr. who takes away all of the data that has been put together on the various types of poisons, and whether the EPA gets dismantled and ruins the evidence structure of being able to track poisonings of people, the FDA gets dismantled, the Center for Disease Control gets dismantled. That means all of the lawsuits can be ripped apart simply because there's no to work with. And that's part of the reason why the various green organizations, Ralph Nader, for example, has tried to set up different techniques for being able to continue with data collection in the dismantling. George Bush was famous for dismantling the EPA libraries years ago. But I don't remember in a previous call in the last month or so, did I ever mention the idea of taking the U.S. penny and using it for a different purpose?
Yeah, I think you did, but I don't remember what that purpose was.
Well, instead of, Trump has decided to get rid of the penny. And even though he's a Republican, the Abraham Lincoln, of course, was the first Republican president. And when Donald Trump decides to get rid of the penny, he's getting rid of the tribute to Abraham Lincoln.
Nice.
But he also did it on Lincoln's birthday, which makes it look more racist than anything else.
No, it doesn't. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's a definition for racism. It's like doing something that's anti somebody because of the color of their skin. And getting rid of the penny on Lincoln's birthday doesn't exactly fall under that.
Well, isn't he on the $5 bill?
Yeah, he's still on the $5 bill. That's a good point.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But the idea of a dollar being worth a penny at this point, and, the idea that a $5 bill is going to be the equivalent of a $1 bill at this point. So, but the technique I was looking at, and this kind of gets into that rating sort of idea, if we were to hold on to your pennies, collect them, keep them, and if you're a coin collector of the past, you're probably familiar with there were these kind of blue books, collect your which year it was an S or a D penny or things like that. But, Free Talk Live has a lot of little entrepreneurs out there. We could come up with different techniques for making pennies instead of a 1 cent or a number one, it could be served as a project done. That if somebody needs something fixed and you don't have any cash to deal with, you give them a penny when the project is done, and then you put them in one of these little books and you mark it down for, whether we've got a big snowstorm. Did you shovel their driveway and their sidewalk? A project valued at what it takes to do that. Did you fix their air conditioner? Did you fix a leaky roof? Different scales of projects done. Did you babysit for somebody? Did you cook them a birthday cake so they can give it to somebody else? Project done. And so instead of looking at the penny as a simple one and a minor detail, you could use it as a symbol of a project done. And the more pennies you've got means that the more projects you did for other people. They give you one of these for X done. And then if you've got them in like a little ratings book about you've done $100 worth of work, you did $10,000 worth of work, the symbol of the value, it's like a rating system for your reputation. Have you done a whole bunch of things that have completed projects for people and that they were satisfied with it and they gave you one? And so it instead of allowing companies to rate themselves, like as you might remember a couple of weeks ago, Elon Musk was declared the first trillionaire simply by a company that he almost bankrupted, being Tesla. How is it that a guy like him can create fake value and then tell the whole world that he's now the trillionaire when it's really nothing more than hyperinflation money?
Well, I have an answer for all this if you want to give me a second to respond, because
sure.
First of all, I just got to say, this is a lot of links to go through, David, as a Democrat, just to avoid perceived racism. That's pretty crazy. But I also got to say that this already could exist and be a lot better than the system you've created. No offense, but people have talked about this for a really long time. And the way that this could happen is just simply opening up the markets and deregulating so that people can get a rating system in the form of dollars that they've gained for being somebody that was worth something to someone else. Instead of like, this is kind of a silly arbitrary thing, like, oh, well, you could do anything good and get 1 penny for it. Like, instead, you literally give people an agreed upon number of dollars, and they don't have to be dollars, they can be Bitcoin, or bits, Satoshis or whatever. So you get the agreed upon number of dollars that you gave that person value. That's exactly what that is. And as far as a rating system, outside of like you're saying the Dow Jones or something like that, you're saying something about them being able to have give people ratings. Well, there could be anyone off the street can start their own company saying, we rate this specific industry. We rate, manufacturing plants on how good they are to the economy. Let's say I start a business that does that. Anyone should be allowed to do that. And they say, hey, if you want to be rated by us, then you need to let us in to access and view your manufacturing plants, and we're going to give you a rating. And then if you score well, you get to put our logo on your products, and people see that and get to say, I support that they're good for the environment. I'm going to, like, people would want to do that. If you watch girls doing clothing hauls on YouTube, they love to say, and I specifically like to support this brand because they recycle or whatever else, you know. Their sustainability is at this level because they do this. They would love, not like the consumers would love to be able to look at a product and say, oh, this corporation that corporation, it doesn't have to be that. This group that I really respect their opinion says that this is a good company to buy from. And you absolutely are incentivized to do better in a system like that that's less regulated, because with regulation, all you have to do bad is go and give money to and whisper in the ears of go lobby and get the bad guys, the government, to just say, hey, change the regulation on this so it's good for me and bad for my competition. That is unethical. But what's ethical is, hey, I can make more money if I actually am better for the environment and get this stamp on my products. Yeah, I'm going to do that. You see what I'm saying? Like, incentivize people to do good, and you don't need a scrapbook full of pennies that you're only holding on to so you don't look racist, that says you did good in this world. Your dollars tell people that, and that's the thing. Being rich, it's not necessarily right now, but in a free society, an open market, unregulated society, being rich would be a sign of being a good person. Literally, like, I made so much value for other people in my life that this is where I am. And that's why people, like in the olden days, they look at their rich farmer grandpa and they're like, wow, what a guy, I want to be like him. And instead, now it's like, well, the people who are rich now is because they went to the government to get favors, and that's how they got rich. I'm not saying everyone either, but what you're saying about Elon Musk, I can agree with you. It's like, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I do know that he has used government, basically welfare from the government to build up a lot of his companies. So it's like, do I look at him and say, you're a trillionaire, you must be a really good person? Not as much, because of the way that it's set up. It's not true capitalism. And it's real capitalism could fix this problem that you have, instead of being like this weird roundabout thing where people do all kinds of things for 1 penny just to be able to say they did something good. It doesn't really make any sense to me.
Well, again, it's a symbol, and it's not the value of a penny. It's a symbol, and this is talking about a world of the future where the electricity goes out, for example, that you have a symbol of doing something, but and that you also don't demand electricity to show the value of something. By the way, what you were describing is the Better Business Bureau used to be set up like that. 50 years ago, if you had a BBB symbol sticker in your window, people would respect your company. And if you didn't have one, then people were skeptical about shopping there. And so what you were describing, kind of look at the history of the Better Business Bureau. But over the course of time, it's been corrupted by, I might have mentioned my grandfather was a state legislator 100 years ago, 125 years ago, and he was fighting the big corporations. He was a Republican, and there were small business Republicans and there were big business Republicans, the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts and the J.P. Morgans and whatnot were the big corrupted ones. And they were basically, my grandfather was fighting those big guys, and the things like the Better Business Bureau were attempted to be able to compete against them. And, the idea that you weren't going to be buying tainted soap or, products that would break and, an expensive car. There were a lot of car manufacturers that went out of business pretty quickly because they were using shoddy parts and bad breaks and all sorts of different things. And the idea that a company would fail because they didn't have high quality standards and they were just kind of fly by night. So what you were describing was attempted in the past, but I'm kind of pushing I mean, it's not something that you're going to be able to run a whole civilization on, but it's the idea of a symbol. And when by the way, the issue of the racism of it, Abraham Lincoln was the first U.S. president to renounce slavery. And, well, there were others, but he was the first one to actually do a declaration to abolish slavery in America. And the idea that Donald Trump and his Project 2025 are actively working toward reestablishing slavery is part of the reason why I raise it. It's not necessarily a racist thing so much as it's a reestablishment of slavery. And I take
over who?
Sure. Look at I've mentioned hyperinflation in past shows. The idea that say like in India, it used to be that you could get 90 rupees to the U.S. dollar. And now, the last time I looked, it was about a week ago, it was 116,000 of them to the U.S. dollar. It's just crazy how much the hyperinflation, and that's the company store kind of money, where the value of the currency compared against another system becomes so tainted that you can't even keep up with the inflation rate. And about 1980, I think, is when Chiapas was the famous issue down in Mexico, where the Mexican peasants did the Zapatista uprising. And that was when it used to be 16 what do they use down there? Mexican, oh, good grief. Why am I forgetting the Mexican currency?
Pesos? Yeah, peso, there we go.
Yeah, pesos, right. Yeah, 16 pesos to the dollar. And at the time, it got to be 33,000 pesos.
Well, okay. I'm just saying, like, but we're not going to, but how is that? I understand slavery, but that's not racist if we're all going to be enslaved in this feudal debt system.
You know, like Democrats only learned about inflation this last couple of years, and they wouldn't say it until Biden got out of office, and they can use it against Trump somehow. They literally didn't know what the heck we were talking about for the last I don't know how many years the Libertarian Party existed, but they refused to acknowledge that it existed. So of course they're going to be using it wrong. They don't know what they're talking about.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. I back in 1980 when libertarians, I'm trying to remember his name, the candidate for president in 1980. I was working with my mother was a candidate and was working with
David Koch
candidates.
Oh no, Ed Clark.
Actually, it was Ed. Was it Ed Clark? Is that what you said? And
it looks like
Koch
it, yeah.
Was his, Ed Koch was his vice presidential candidate, and this same issue came up back then. And when Ronald Reagan got elected in 1980, he helped to really change a lot of the rating systems of the stock market, whether it was the Dow Jones or being able to, if none of you all are old enough to remember how bad inflation was, but World War II veterans were able to get houses for 1.5% interest rates, 1.5%. And the average person was, I think my parents got their house at about 3%. But the baby boom, right away after Vietnam became really contentious, Richard Nixon started really trying to punish the baby boom for their opposition to him. And so interest rates went up to 6% and 8% and 10 and 15. And they eventually got to about 22% under Jimmy Carter. And Ronald Reagan, there were laws, usury laws in America. Almost every state had usury laws below 7%. And so you couldn't legally charge anything over 7%, including credit card debt. And but Ronald Reagan got his cronies to lift that. And so when you're talking about the whether the Democrats pay any attention to some of these standards that you're talking about, many Democrats are too young to remember this stupid cycle that started with Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan just lifting interest rates. A couple of years ago, I remember calling an Alabama station, and there was a church group down in Alabama that was trying to do a referendum to top out usury at 46%. 46%. You can't survive 10%, and 46% is just slaughter. And they were thinking they were doing some common good by.
Isn't usury like just a crime? What is usury exactly?
Usury is it's like loan sharking, kind of.
Exactly,
like predatory loans. Like, I'll give you this this loan at $20,000, but it's at 30% interest, and if you don't pay me back within 2 weeks, I'll
okay.
You owe me your life, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll break your kneecaps or whatever. Yeah, that was, and that's why the usury laws were put together. And as a matter of fact, many of the usury laws came about under Franklin Roosevelt after, organized crime. The Roaring Twenties was famous for having that as a standard. And so the organized crime laws were put together to stop loan sharking. But basically, Ronald Reagan, created this kind of a buyer beware world, and it had nothing to do with reality. It just had to do with whether or not they could get away with it. And so, there are a lot of Democrats that haven't really been trained. I took financial management when I was in college in 1986, and the textbook that we had was already changed to reflect, I think they had a whole chapter on new standards. And their new standards were just as corrupt as you can imagine.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Creepy.
In college, they don't teach real economics at all. They just teach modern monetary theory.
Yeah, and it's pitiful, and that's why I'm talking about, like, the penny can simply be a symbol, a symbol of a project done. And whether you've got a little sack of pennies hanging around your neck and you've got 5 of them in there, you've got 50 of them in there, it means that you have a reputation for fulfilling projects. You get it done. And when it comes down to, we've got a terrible snowstorm going through the northern cities right now. And if you were out there and you shovel a whole bunch of snow and people haven't got scrap to deal with. In fact, they've got power outages all through Denver right now.
Wow, I didn't hear about that. Sorry to cut you off, but we do have a break. 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. You can still get in on the phones with us. 603-283-6160. Thanks for the call, David from San Francisco. More Free Talk Live coming up. Yeah, I just think that there's an easier way to show that you did something good, and there's an easier way to compensate people than just and plus people be incentivized to do it for actual money. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Free Talk Live.
I was watching some videos of you and your crew of cronies on YouTube, and I was shocked at what I saw.
What did you see that was so shocking?
Degenerates that were harassing members of your community. I saw you chasing around some traffic lady, the parking violation.
The parking attendants, yeah. Okay, so you saw some footage from Robin Hood of Keene where...
There's a whole bunch of that footage out there, and I can assure you didn't see me.
That wasn't really a Free Talk Live thing.
Incorrect.
All right, you got me. You got me. Lay it on me, prosecutor. What'd you see?
Incorrect.
Incorrect.
I would like you to address, are you guys receiving government benefits while you guys are doing this? I think you are.
No.
What would the benefit be?
Incorrect! Incorrect, sir!
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern at freetalklive.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave with the Week in Review. The European Union has agreed to provide Ukraine with a loan worth $105 billion to help finance the country for the next 2 years. Ultimately, the bloc failed to agree on a plan to use frozen Russian assets to fund the loan, instead borrowing the money backed by the EU's common budget. William Denzelo reports from Brussels.
Instead of using frozen Russian assets, Ukraine will receive a reparations loan to the tune of $105 billion coming from funds guaranteed by the common EU budget. Ultimately, the use of those frozen Russian assets proved too politically sensitive for some member states, most namely Belgium, worried about the legal and financial ramifications of using them, as most of those assets reside here in Belgium.
TikTok said this week it signed a joint venture deal with investors that would allow the company to maintain operations in the United States and avoid a ban threat over its Chinese ownership. The deal is a milestone for the short video app used regularly by more than 170 million Americans. Laura Westbrook has more from Hong Kong.
TikTok CEO Shou Chu reportedly told employees that the company and ByteDance signed binding agreements to create a U.S. joint venture, majority owned by American investors. Under the deal, American and global investors will hold an 80.1% stake, while ByteDance will retain a 19.9% stake in the new joint venture after its divestiture. Chu reportedly said there is still more work to be done before the deal is finalized.
In other big news this week, President Trump ordered a total and complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela in a dramatic escalation with the South American nation, which has included strikes against dozens of alleged drug boats and the seizure of an oil tanker. In a social media post, the president also declared the Maduro government a foreign terrorist organization, paving the way for more military action. Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
It's unclear how exactly oil tankers will be stopped from entering or leaving Venezuela, but the U.S. has amassed thousands of troops and nearly a dozen warships in the Caribbean in recent months. It's all part of a pressure campaign to topple the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The Trump administration says it's fighting narco-terrorists, but critics say this is, in part, about oil. Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, and the industry is the main source of income in the country. The Venezuelan government has called this latest threat from President Trump grotesque and warmongering threats.
Over to India, and New Delhi has been cracking down on polluting vehicles as a toxic smog continued to engulf the city. Officials said vehicles that don't adhere to emission standards will not be allowed to purchase fuel. Ishan Garg has more from New Delhi.
The No Pollution Under Control certificate, no fuel policy effectively bars thousands of vehicles from refueling. This comes as New Delhi and its National Capital Region neighbours now comprise India's entire top 10 list of most polluted cities. While farm fires have receded, data shows local sources like construction, dust and vehicular exhaust now drive over 40% of the pollution load. Environment Minister Manjinder Singh Sirsa has invoked strict anti-pollution measures, ordering 50% of government and private office staff to work from home. As winter traps pollutants inside Delhi's airspace, authorities are betting that forcibly thinning traffic will finally help.
And finally, the board of entertainment giant Warner Brothers Discovery instructed its shareholders to reject a hostile takeover bid from Paramount Skydance, favouring the offer proposed by its competitor Netflix. Mitch McCann reports.
In a news release on Wednesday, Warner Brothers Discovery told shareholders that the offer it first accepted from Netflix for its studio and streaming assets was superior to the one being offered by Paramount Skydance. The chair of the WBD board wrote in the release that following a careful evaluation of Paramount's recently launched tender offer, the board concluded that the offer's value is inadequate, with significant risks and costs imposed on our shareholders. Paramount has claimed that the offer has the full backstop of the Ellison family, with Chief Executive David Ellison, the son of Oracle billionaire Larry Ellison, leading the bid, something Warner Brothers Discovery disputes, saying it would have appreciated greater involvement from Larry Ellison in the deal.
That was the Week in Review from Feature Story News. I'm Jagrati Dave in Washington.
This is William Chambers. Now a retired insurance salesman, Chambers is just one of over 95% of grandfathers who, according to a new report from the Center of Business Intelligence, secured their first and only job by walking right up to the owner of a business and asking for a position right then and there.
I slammed my fist on the desk and said, "I'm your man." He stood right up. He shook my hand and he said, "You come in first thing Monday morning."
According to the report, nearly 36% of grandfathers claim that they found employment by entering a local business with nothing but a nickel in their pockets and a shirt on their backs. 24% saw a fine-looking marquee for a business and said, "Someday my name's going to be on that sign." And 40% of grandfathers said they snuck into the CEO's office and said, "Mr. McKinley, sir, I'm your guy."
It just took gumption. You didn't need some fancy internship. Looking the boss dead in the eye and showing him you were a man. That was your internship.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Angelo.
And in the last segment, we were talking to David, and I don't think we really got into the crapification of everything. But I do want to read this article, and I'm glad it's not as old as I thought it was. Basically, I listened to a YouTube video today, and dang it, I was going to get the YouTube creator, the channel guy's channel. I was going to get his name up so that way I could credit him, because I didn't want to not credit the guy at all. But the thing is, seriously, like, he was saying things, and I was like, I literally have been saying this. In fact, actually on the air, like, with proof. So this guy, Medieval Mindset, on YouTube. I never had seen one of his YouTube videos before, or even like a thumbnail of it. I'd never heard of him. And it suggested this video for me called Why the 2030s Will Be the New Renaissance.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of Medieval Mindset stuff. I think more on the history side of things of his. He started his philosophy stuff. I watched a few of, but I kind of stick to maybe more of his historical stuff.
That's the only video of his I've ever watched at all, so I would definitely watch more. I subscribed, but the point I was going to say is, in that video, he brings up that he thinks that, yeah, because his video before, which I haven't watched yet, was called why the 2020s are the new Middle Ages. And he was talking about basically like the slopification of everything. The internet just being a bunch of slop. And he is saying that that's going to bring about the 2030s being the new Renaissance. But I have already said this, like right when AI came out, and Arya and Ian would be maybe talking about an article or something where they'd be like, well, we can't believe these artists are saying we don't want AI being inspired by our art. It's our property. Well, I was saying, you know what? I honestly don't think these people have that much to worry about. Like, people at the time when AI first came out, they were like, AI is going to replace every human being on the planet. And I was like, do you really think that humans are going to let that happen? And by that, I don't mean like people are going to suddenly become way more altruistic and awesome and just decide to go and do like amazing things, and like there would be something easy they could do with AI, but instead they're going to reject it and do this. No, I think it's going to be a very natural thing where people are going to become bored of slop and get off the internet. And I've been saying that, and especially another thing that was making me say this was when people were real freaked out, and I'm not gonna lie, it was freaky to me at the time. People were real freaked out about you will own nothing and you will be happy, you will eat the bugs, and Meta came out and made the metaverse, and they were like, we're going to change how people use the internet, Web3, man. Yeah, we're going to make it to where instead of just being on Facebook, you have a VR set on your head and you're in a pod and you only interact with people on I was like, I can't see that happening. I'm sorry. Like, I don't think that is like cool enough, inherently cool enough that the whole world's going to do that. Like, I think if that's what the internet became, all that's going to do is push people into the real life. And that's what this guy is saying in this video, and I was really white-pilled by it.
Well, have you seen the gamers are freaking out about AI.
No.
Have you heard about this?
No.
So, some of these game companies are using generative AI in their games, and they're not disclosing it, and then people are finding out and being like, hey, if you're going to use it, I want to know about it, because I think you shouldn't use it, so I'm going to go buy games that use actual artists instead of a generative AI.
I like that because it's like, I feel the same exact way about like pop stars. Like, video game just isn't my scene, but when Taylor Swift recently came out with a album, believe it or not, it was the first Taylor Swift album in a really long time I actually had a little bit of high hopes for. I thought it could be good because, one, in all the promotional pictures for it, she was actually like looking pretty and dressing up and not just looking like, oh my god, I hate her whole style where it's like, I'm just a girl in sweatpants with a bun on the top of my head, and I'm just like so plain and boring.
Stanley Cup sweats.
Yes. That's something that she like 100% typically appeals to and likes to look like, but instead she was like in sparkly outfits, and it was called The Life of a Showgirl, and I was like, not only was that part of it, but Max Martin, who wrote Hit Me Baby One More Time, or not wrote, maybe he didn't write the song, I don't know, but he definitely produced it. He might have wrote it too, I don't remember right now, but he was a producer on it, so I thought it was gonna be good. And then it just sucked. But not only did the music really suck, people genuinely think that it was all just, write me a Taylor Swift song in AI prompts. 100% is possible. Not only the lyrics, but also absolutely caught in visuals and stuff. Absolutely caught doing AI. And wouldn't admit it necessarily, like didn't come out and say it. And people were mad. Like, people don't want that in her sales. Just like I was trying to explain to David from San Francisco in last call, her sales actually totally, explained that the customer didn't want it anyway, because like it wasn't as bad as like, I mean, she still unfortunately sold a lot compared to like most people in the world will ever sell, but compared to her old albums, she sold less.
Well, do you know about that? Is it Kenny Chesney? One of these country music singers had a stroke. And he can't sing anymore. So he using AI, or he used AI with his voice and got into like the studio, and he produced the album with an AI voice of himself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, but I don't like it.
Because he couldn't sing anymore. It says
Randy Travis.
Yeah.
So the King of the Hill episode came true, but instead of him stealing Peggy Hill's song. He stole his own songs.
I think he's writing the lyrics and then he's just having the AI voice sing them.
Yeah, that's fine too. But I'm
if
just
that
saying.
makes sense. I don't think he's having the AI write the songs. I think he's writing the songs. He could be, but him using it as his own voice, is that not cool?
I think
that
cool.
should be. You don't think it's cool?
It's unfortunate. It's so sad that he lost his voice. I literally am currently struggling with something very similar. I have TMJ. I love to sing. I've been known to say, like, if I don't sing all day, then I'm like sick or something. And literally, I haven't even really been listening to music, period, because like I have TMJ and my jaw got locked, and then it's like, oh, so stupid to talk about on the radio, whatever. Or not stupid, I just mean like almost like embarrassing. And literally it's caused it to where like I can't sing like I used to be able to sing. And so I can relate, and I can still say, no, I'm anti him using AI for his own voice. And I'm not saying it should be illegal. I'm just saying I wouldn't support his music. I'd be like, a natural end's a natural end, dude. Like, you had a good run, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I knew who he was, and I'm not a country music fan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If people want it, that's how you know that that's your rating system. So if people still buy Randy Travis via AI and he's open about it, fine. It shouldn't be made illegal. But I personally would never give him my money and say, hey, this is what we want. You know what I'm saying? Even if like Lana Del Rey did it, I would not give her my money and say, this is what we want from Lana. Like, if Lana Del Rey tragically lost her voice, that'd be so freaking tragic. And I still wouldn't say, hey, this is what we want. We want you to keep making music, but AI. How about Randy Travis just focuses on a young singer that can still sing and writes his music and like builds him up? You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like a money grab. It's kind of gross.
Yeah, I can understand that too.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't like it, and I don't like it at all.
I can see how, yeah, but I don't think it should be regulated. At least he's honest
Correct.
about it. At least he's like, hey, I'm using this because I can't sing anymore, so I'm gonna have to use this computer voice. But with like Taylor Swift using it, and
Exactly.
then in your face being like, you're too stupid to realize what's going on.
Correct. I completely agree with that. Well, we have a caller on the line, and the number 603-283-6160 if you'd like to get in on the phone with us. But we have Sarah from New Mexico on Free Talk Live. Sarah, what's on your mind?
Yes, they're talking about they're going to finally plan those blocked sidewalks here in Albuquerque. They have actually a barrier. I have seen them in other cities, and they're finally going to put them here in Albuquerque.
What does that mean, a blocked sidewalk? Like, you mean like the car couldn't possibly run into the sidewalk?
Well, I'm talking about the bicycle path, not the sidewalk. Have you seen those where they got those plastic things that stick up like every 6 feet? And then they have those, what are those little concrete that sticks up, the little curb thing that they put in front of the parking? When you park the car, there's a little concrete.
Like a pylon.
Is that what they call it? A pylon?
Yeah, the post, like the concrete post.
No, like right in front of a parking spot that's like a it's like a log on the ground.
Oh, that's called like a
pylon.
It's not
right
a curb.
To me.
No, a pylon's the one that sticks up.
Oh, okay. So is it like a pole that sticks up, Sarah, or just like a little like log on the ground?
Well, what I've seen is that there's a little pole, and then for about another 12 feet, they would have two little logs, and then put a little white pole that goes up like 5 foot, and then they would put another two little logs, concrete logs, and another white things, and they're gonna start doing that. But I've always was kind of like, I was always perplexed about those bicycles when they put them on a paint line. And have you ever kind of wondered, like, how is that that's supposed to be a bike lane? It never made any sense to me. Because anybody that's talking on their cell phone, texting or speeding or whatever, or listening to music could just go over, like, and hit a bicyclist. And they want you to have your back turned and ride against them. I mean, to me, it was like, it made as much sense as smoking and non-smoking section in a restaurant. It's like,
Oh.
Kind of stupid.
There's no actual barrier, yeah.
Well, I just don't understand why they don't have, like, better paths for bikes, like, outside of the roadway.
I feel like you just have to, like, completely, like, eminent domain everything. Like, you'd have to make such a large road.
I wouldn't say, like, government funded.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even, like, say a private company owns all the roads, it still seems like it'd be, like, impossible. Like, I really think the answer is make bikes act exactly like cars and tell them that they have no extra rights that cars have, and make it to where they absolutely have to get over when they can for cars to pass them, because that's what annoys me. It's like, you really think that you should just make me go 20 miles an hour right now and be like in the middle of the lane? That makes me mad. Or make it illegal to ride bikes on your road. Like, if you own a road, you can make that a rule on your road. And I seriously, if I think if I owned a road, I would make that a rule, because it's so freaking dangerous. It's like they cause accidents among cars and they die.
I think that's just the issue, is that it's a gray area. Are you a cyclist or a vehicle? And then you try to take rights from both sides.
Yes, and
then have none of the responsibilities of either.
You're just like this, like, person who I could easily kill with my car out on the road, and you are unpredictable. That's the problem. Like, people being unpredictable in traffic is a huge danger. Like, people in New Hampshire who love to stop in the middle of where they shouldn't be stopping and be like, no, you go ahead, you turn out of the parking lot, even though you could have waited the 5 more seconds. It's unpredictable and dangerous. It's not nice. It's not, being like a friendly culture. It's stupid.
Yeah, like if I'm at a stop sign and I'm trying to turn left on a street, like, I don't need you to stop
and let me in.
And
like, seriously, in San Antonio, Texas, where I used to live, sometimes that was welcome, because it would be like, I can't get off for the next bumper to bumper traffic,
right? And it's slow.
Exactly. It's not like that anywhere in New Hampshire. So it's like, absolutely, it's like you're like sitting there at the stop sign ready to go left, and you're looking at a car and you're like, after this black car I'm gonna go, and then suddenly they stop and you're like, what's happening? You're not like, oh, thank you for letting me go. Like, you don't understand what's happening for a second, and it could literally mess up. The person behind you isn't expecting you to just stop. You know what I mean? Like, they shouldn't be riding so close. It doesn't matter. It's dangerous, and it's so dumb, and it's like, I don't want you to disrupt the flow of traffic.
And I can wait the extra 2 minutes.
Or seconds sometimes.
Yeah, or seconds, or a minute it's going to take for me to get out of here. It's not the end of the world. It's not like I'm not going to get out of here for 30 minutes.
And genuinely, I think that this is another thing it causes that is dangerous. It causes that same person that let you in would be sitting there waiting to turn left, and they're going to be so pissed that you don't stop for them that they dangerously turn out. And New Hampshireites have 2 problems that seem opposite, but no, it comes from the same mindset. They'll turn out right in front of you where you have to like slam on your brake, and it's because they think you should have let them in. It's oh my god, I can't believe I'm like talking about this on national radio.
I also hate how they're
it's just that
sometimes their speed is they go so just fast enough to be in my way, but just slow enough to where I can't get I can't get out.
Yeah.
And everybody just spaces themselves at such a great point to where you're just stuck in a weird like liminal space where you can't leave.
Talking about the same thing too. I've noticed that like I'm like, say I'm at a stop sign getting ready to turn left onto a road. I'll see a car coming and I'm like, okay, after this car passes me I can go as long as another car doesn't come. That car decides, all right, I'm just going to slow down now. And they think they're doing something nice somehow.
And then the guy behind them speeds up, and then it closes the gap.
Or another car just shows up and from the other direction.
Yeah, coming from the other direction.
Sorry, Sarah. That must be pretty boring to wait on us to talk about. It's just that infuriating to me.
Well, you know what I noticed about these roads, these bicycle paths? They always talk about, we got these great bicycle paths here in Albuquerque, but it was all just meant for recreation. Our big roads that take you to school, work, shopping, and all the places that you have to go were designed with no bicycle paths. Our artillery roads. They're the places that you really have to use the main roads that you have to go where you live, from where you live to go to school, where you live to go to work. But the bicycle paths are by the arroyos, out in the park, and, you know, they're far out. It was only meant for recreation. So now they're finally putting bicycle paths with these blockades. But, originally all these streets were designed with no pedestrian bicycle in mind at all. And then I was in El Paso at Bassett Park, and it was designed like that. I was walking trying to go to Kohl's to get some Sephora stuff, and when I was walking, there was not even any bicycle path, pedestrian pathway. I had to actually walk. I mean, it was like, it's like only Albuquerque. It's like Albuquerque's not the only dumb place. El Paso has a lot of dumb road construction. It was built a long time ago. So.
Yeah, it sounds like they must be like using eminent domain or something if they had these roads without pedestrians or bicyclists in mind, because I don't understand how else they make the road big enough. But I honestly am, if you have the room without eminent domain, I am pro a bicycle having their own lane, if there genuinely is enough room. You know what I mean? It's better than them being on the same road as us.
We're built so narrow They have to take down 2 car lanes, make it down to 1 to put in a bicycle lane and a sidewalk.
Yeah, what they do is they just start making all these streets one ways instead of 2 ways.
That sucks. I hate one-way roads.
But it is actually better. Instead of like 3 car lanes going in one way, they don't slow down. So so if they kind of narrow it towards the end where they have to stop, so you could have 3 car lanes, but when it comes to stop, you get it down to 2 and 1 car lane. It does slow the traffic down when it comes where you have to stop at the red light. Otherwise, you got 3 car lanes. They can't stop because people are just trying to make the green and the red, and then when they get yellow, and then when it turns red, they want to keep going and they speed up even more. And so I think that would be a better design. Yeah,
the thing about bicycle lanes and like it being better for the bicyclists is like they're the minority. The minority's always enslaving the majority in the left when the left's in charge. And I don't mean minority like race necessarily in this case. I mean more like
the smallest group of.
Yeah, they're always loud. Thanks for the call, Sarah. It's interesting that you're getting these bicycle lanes in Albuquerque.
Well, it's just more tax dollars at work.
Yep, and I would be shocked if eminent domain wasn't at least involved in that.
And how much money are they going to charge to put in these curbs and white signs, right? This is probably going to be millions and millions of dollars.
Just for something you don't want. Like the majority doesn't want.
Or need.
At the very least, yeah. And
like who? Because I always get dumbfounded that Sarah wants to walk around in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Like outside during the daytime.
Yeah.
Like in the summer.
I think it's just like a fear. I think she's literally afraid to drive even if she like had a car and stuff.
What about like the bus?
She
anti-bus?
complains about the bus because it's so crappy that there's a bunch of homeless, awful people on it now because they made it free.
But doesn't she love the homeless?
She loves not only the homeless, but every single step that turned the bus into a crap show that she dislikes now, and she can't see her fault in it. Literally. Like if she's like, it's dangerous to ride the bus now. Yeah, because there's like these homeless people that ride it all day to have somewhere to go. You voted Democrat for like 30 years, Sarah. And you went to New Mexico because it was so Democrat and socialist.
Yeah, it sounds like she would want free buses. That sounds like pro-Sarah stuff.
No, she would definitely wants free buses. She just can't wrap her head around why people are like dangerous and gross on the bus.
She doesn't understand why some people are bad.
She doesn't understand why people are incentivized to be bad because of policies she voted for. She does not understand that.
That's crazy.
And you can explain it to her a million times.
That's just like cognitive dissonance. It has to be. There has to be a disconnect somewhere. It's like a paradigm shift, like a collapse that just it can't happen because it's too...
Because she's accepted communism. And I mean actually communism, like Sarah legitimately, if you're a new listener or something, Sarah legitimately is a communist. She went to like little meetings after, not work, whatever the heck she was doing because she doesn't have a job. And
panhandling.
She absolutely got convinced, like communism is the way, and I'm going to go to my class tonight and learn more about communism. And like when you ask her questions, she has all these preset answers she learned in the classes, stuff like that. Like it is cognitive dissonance because she cannot admit that communism is bad in any way. When you ask her like, well, why are people having such a horrible quality of life in like Cuba and like Russia? There were all these reports like, oh, kids don't have shoes in the snow. She's just like, no, that's not true. It's actually great there. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160. Last two callers are just like, I let them talk for a long time. It's just like, hey, here's Democrats and how they think incorrectly. And you can just see it right there. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, you are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave with the Week in Review. The European Union has agreed to provide Ukraine with a loan worth $105 billion to help finance the country for the next 2 years. Ultimately, the bloc failed to agree on a plan to use frozen Russian assets to fund the loan, instead borrowing the money backed by the EU's common budget. William Denzelo reports from Brussels.
Instead of using frozen Russian assets, Ukraine will receive a reparations loan to the tune of $105 billion coming from funds guaranteed by the common EU budget. Ultimately, the use of those frozen Russian assets proved too politically sensitive for some member states, most namely Belgium, worried about the legal and financial ramifications of using them, as most of those assets reside here in Belgium.
TikTok said this week it signed a joint venture deal with investors that would allow the company to maintain operations in the United States and avoid a ban threat over its Chinese ownership. The deal is a milestone for the short video app used regularly by more than 170 million Americans. Laura Westbrook has more from Hong Kong.
TikTok CEO Shou Chu reportedly told employees that the company and ByteDance signed binding agreements to create a U.S. joint venture, majority owned by American investors. Under the deal, American and global investors will hold an 80.1% stake, while ByteDance will retain a 19.9% stake in the new joint venture after its divestiture. Chu reportedly said there is still more work to be done before the deal is finalized.
In other big news this week, President Trump ordered a total and complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela in a dramatic escalation with the South American nation, which has included strikes against dozens of alleged drug boats and the seizure of an oil tanker. In a social media post, the president also declared the Maduro government a foreign terrorist organization, paving the way for more military action. Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
It's unclear how exactly oil tankers will be stopped from entering or leaving Venezuela, but the U.S. has amassed thousands of troops and nearly a dozen warships in the Caribbean in recent months. It's all part of a pressure campaign to topple the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The Trump administration says it's fighting narco-terrorists, but critics say this is, in part, about oil. Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, and the industry is the main source of income in the country. The Venezuelan government has called this latest threat from President Trump grotesque and warmongering threats.
That was the Week in Review from Feature Story News. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the phone number to get in on the conversation with us. On Free Talk Live tonight, we've got me and Angelo, and on the break, just clicked on Twitter, and it brought up this picture of in Italy, in Bologna. That's how it's telling me to say. I googled how to pronounce it. Bologna, I guess. In the main square of Bologna, Italy, an Australian art studio, ENESS, put out this giant statue that looks like some sort of like colorful droppings, in my opinion. And somebody said it looks like a dinosaur pooped there.
To me, it looks like a bunch of plastic bags within a big plastic bag.
Yeah, that's what I originally thought. It looks like a big plastic bag within a plastic bag, but then when I look closer, they're more like just completely rounded things, and somebody said they look like kidney stones. And yeah, it's hilarious and weird, and it's literally so funny because it goes to what I'm saying, the crapification of everything. And I want to get into how we can fight it. This article from December 7th, 2025 is an opinion essay on an opinion guest essay on the New York Times. Buy better, buy less, feel smug about it. And I'm not necessarily saying this is a part of like we need to boycott things to punish companies, but I'm starting to feel like on those people's side. Like for Christmas this year, I got people presents, and I tried my hardest to make things, and I went to a thrift store. I had to, last resort for people that I didn't have things for, go to a TJ Maxx, and I felt dirty about it. And I will like try my hardest not to do that again. Like I'll start earlier next year making things, because I feel where these people are coming from at this point, where it's like I don't want to incentivize them to give us crap, like I was saying about AI. Like the only reason companies get away with giving us polyester crap that breaks the first time you wash it is because we buy it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Buying less, period, would legitimately help the situation more than just, spending all this money all the time and feeling like you need to all the time. And it's crappy because, well, if everything you own is polyester, it's going to break down faster. And it's so funny because, like, before I even listened to that video that I mentioned in the last segment about how he thinks that things are going to get better in this way, before I even listened to it, last night I was checking my closet as I do before I go to sleep with a flashlight, and I saw these pair of shoes of mine that I don't really wear much anymore. For one thing, it's because I live in New Hampshire and they're definitely a summer-only shoes. They're like a sandal high heel, and I thought to myself, like, I should hold on to these and keep them forever because they're like cute, and like give them to somebody when I'm older or whatever. And I was like, why does that sound like no one does? That's not even possible. They have to break by it. Like in my head I was like, I feel like that's not even possible. They have to break before I have them like 20 years from now and they're like vintage. That's not even possible. And I was like, it's kind of crazy because like that definitely used to be possible.
Well, part of that is like the planned obsolescence of everything. Like they want it to break apart.
Yeah.
So you go back and have to buy more.
Right, exactly. That's the exact kind of problem. I'm not sure if that would happen with these exact shoes. Like it's very possible. I just haven't worn them enough to wear them down enough. But it felt like just the fact that feels so impossible is a problem.
I think the hipsters made it uncool.
I know, that's a good point. The hipsters were onto something.
Restorative stuff, like to like recycle things or use older, they made it.
Things,
they made it an aesthetic instead of like hey, why don't we use things that work?
They were right
the first time,
so right, and they were also so annoying.
Yeah, well, they were so right in the wrong ways.
Maybe, yeah.
They did it as of like an aesthetic, in an aesthetical way. They wanted it.
They were feeling smug about it. Maybe that is the problem.
Yeah, or like an ego. They used ego with it, right? Like, oh, I'm better than you because
Going around with your pennies on your necklace. Oh, I keep my pennies in a scrapbook.
Yeah, I drink my coffee out of a copper mug.
So I just want to get into what this person is talking about, but we seem to have definitely pinpointed the problem we're talking about here. They say, I love shopping, and it's written by Isabel Christo. Miss Christo writes about style and gender. Okay. I love shopping, and I also generally try to be a good person. I'm often tormented by the nagging feeling that these two impulses are in conflict with each other. Like I was saying about TJ Maxx, I'm not joking at all. I'm not trying to be like funny. Like it wasn't like, I feel dirty. Huh? No, I legitimately was like, feel kind of like dirty about this. Like this is something I genuinely shouldn't have done. Should have tried harder in thrift stores, but I felt the rush. I felt I'm running out of time. I gotta hurry. And that's just such an easy place to go and get things.
Well, you know, I don't mean to, I'm not trying to bag on you. I won't bag on you. But you know that the local toy store is shutting down after
oh yeah, that's a good point.
50 years.
I mean, but for adults, I can't get a bunch of adults like toys, but I could go check it out.
Well, they have like hobby things or like knick-knack type things.
I definitely need to take Jacob there. He loves board games, and that's a great thing. And we're gonna go see SpongeBob, so it's right there. But anyways, that's not for the radio. So yeah, I know what you're saying. Exactly. Like it literally is like a dirty thing. It's like you could have first of all, the presents I got are just, they don't feel very personal or good as presents. Felt like I was literally in a rush and I have to go do this. You know what I mean? And the other thing is like you're giving money to companies that get away with doing things crappily
and hate you and think you're stupid.
Yeah, that's a good point. So they say she's saying that she's tormented by the nagging feeling that shopping and being a good person are at odds with each other. The damage wrought by the global fashion industry on both the planet and the people it employs is well documented and widely understood. On top of all of that, as a rule, I object to the principles of unfettered consumption and capitalist visions of eternal growth. Well, you know, that's a her thing, but I want to get what we can out of this article without agreeing with every single thing she says. For a long time, I thought I could mitigate my own participation by shopping almost exclusively secondhand. This approach was less expensive and seemed to offer a kind of get-out-of-jail-free card. When I took a chance on a shirt with a rounded collar instead of a pointed one, just to see if I could be the kind of person who wears a rounded collar shirt, and it turned out that no, I can't be that kind of person. I could always sell the shirt right back to another thrift store and do it all over again, bypassing landfills the whole time. Then, resale and vintage shopping exploded in popularity. This is a huge thing. Prices shot up. My favorite stores became overrun with the same Zara blouses that everyone else had. It says, now with some pilling. Now made with polyester, I'm adding. And the good stuff was gone in a blink of an eye. But I still needed my fix. I was back at square one. To my relief, a new framework emerged. Good quality. Online, I watched personal style influencers peddling capsule wardrobes or their latest hauls. Invoke the really good quality of a piece like an incantation meant to ward off the specter of overconsumption. I feel like I messed something up in that sentence, but I think you get the point. I found a thriving ecosystem of content wholly devoted to stitch counts, seams, and fabric compositions. Armed with my newfound rationale, I gravitated to brands that predated the explosion of fast fashion. Ralph Lauren crew neck, silk Armani shirts, mostly defunct in-house department store lines, as well as independent labels where I shelled out more money, comforted by the knowledge that the boots would last me forever. Far from curbing my spending, I had launched into a whole new marketplace full of beautiful things to buy. Quality has become a sort of overarching sign of good taste, capturing at once the enduring popularity of the resale market, the looming possibility of a recession, prevailing minimalist aesthetics, the environmental and human costs of commercial production, and the frenetic retail cycle. I'm the first to insist that it's good to be discerning, to buy less and buy better, but quality alone can't carry the cultural weight of all that we and I as consumers have foisted upon it, no matter how strong the hand-sewn backstitch. If we're not vigilant, quality risks becoming a trend in itself, just as meaningless a concept as the old money aesthetic, the clean girl, or the quiet luxury. Those are all just like trend aesthetics on TikTok, basically. And what she means like by a backstitch is like it's a thing to look for to see if something is made well. It's like instead of the seam just ending where it ends, you can tell that something is made well because it's backstitched at the end of where it would normally end, so that way there's double stitching there and it's less likely to fall apart. I think that's what she's talking about because I started learning how to sew and that's what a backstitch is, so I'm pretty sure that's like what she means is like a sign of a quality thing. So high quality things have always conferred status on their owner. Traditionally, quality and luxury were paired. High prices came with the promise of high standards. You paid more and got better fabrics and craftsmanship. One time Mark told me that it's good and fine that, and I just don't know that I agree. He was like, what you and Ian don't understand is that luxury items cost 4 times more but aren't 4 times better. And I was just like, it ain't right. It should just cost how much better it is. You know what I mean?
Well, now you can't even get normal, right? Like a cotton t-shirt.
Yeah. It's really well made, at least.
It's like a well-made cotton t-shirt costs,
it's like expensive, yeah.
An expensive, $20 maybe for a well-made cotton t-shirt.
They used to be like, actually, you could buy a cotton t-shirt that would just be plain and do its job and be a cotton t-shirt at Walmart. Now it's like literally every single thing at Walmart is polyester.
Yeah, a polyester blend or a cotton blend.
And it's like whenever I moved to New Hampshire, I was like, wow, the Walmart here has such better clothes than the Walmart in Texas. It's genuinely true. Like, looks better. But when you actually start being a person who looks at tags, it's not, it looks better, but it's all made of, like it's either a blend or it's just straight up polyester and nylon and plastic. That's bad for you. Let's see, this woman is coming from a place of like quality, like what she wants people to see her wearing, and also that she wants to feel good about, not like clothes just going into landfills. And I agree with her there and everything, but also I come from a third direction too of not wanting to make myself sick wearing plastic all day. So.
Well, I think what the fashion industry has figured out is that they don't have to give quality products, they have to give limited products, right? Like limited drops.
Oh yeah, that's
so like the resale market makes this shirt worth way more than it is.
And they're being just like the feeling someone has when they go onto the site right when the drop happens, and they're like, oh, I have to be one of the first 100 people or else I can't get this. Like, I need it. It's like...
When everybody just uses a computer to buy it before you can do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they make them limited, because it guarantees they'll sell out everything, because there's this feeling that, that you might not be able to get this and you're not cool if you can't get this. I feel like Kylie Jenner, if not like invented, well, it was the first time I ever saw it, that model... where when her lip kits came out, it was always like, okay, we're dropping, there's only like 10,000 lip kits, so you got, I don't know if 10,000 is even a big number, maybe.
Or like Supreme, or...
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Like the t-shirt brands, a lot of those places, like people were trying to buy like a brick that said Supreme on it for $10,000.
Wow.
Because they only sold, 500 of them or whatever.
So stupid.
And it was the same thing with like Magic cards, right? Like, you play Magic sometimes. I've played Magic before,
but I never got into it like that.
I'm never gonna buy a card for $100. That's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, just like the game.
Yeah, the game's fun, but Magic's figured that out, so they just started printing a bunch of cards. It's like a hyperinflation of the cards. So now everybody's into it, and now it's not fun anymore because they're just using it as it's a money making scheme. There's no real value behind it.
I didn't follow all that. Like, not saying I didn't follow what you're saying. I'm saying I didn't see any of that happening, because like truly it's just like I will go grab one of the like decks that you get at Walmart with like 30 cards in there or whatever it is. I think it's 30, and like play that over and over again with my friend. And I never played Magic for anything like, oh, I have this crazy card, like watch this, or like,
Well, yeah, they've done it. They've done it with everything. The Funko Pops, Labubu dolls. Like, it's just the next craze kind of thing. It's something you can dump your money into.
But are you saying this as like a hipster? Like, oh, I don't like Magic because everybody knows about it now. Or you? What do you mean?
No, I think that the company who produces it has realized how to turn it into a cash cow. And they started doing the limited drops thing with certain cards to inflate the prices of their stuff. It's a piece of cardboard, but people are going to give you $3,000 for this piece of printed cardboard because this company says it's worth $3,000. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's so stupid. And I guess I could see that being less fun because it's like, well, I'm not going to pay $3,000, but the people I'm playing against did, so they can always beat me every time because they have this card that says everybody dies except
and then
me.
they go, no, it's strategy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like the people who just want to play the game can't get the card because crazy people are fighting over it for $3,000.
Yeah, and then going and reselling it too. I feel like resellers kind of are, was sort of... Okay, maybe I just like them back and forth. I can't decide if I think that being a reseller, if you know what I mean by that.
I don't think it should be illegal, but I think you're a scumbag.
I don't think it should be illegal, but I was saying I'm just torn if I think it's does it make you, is it immoral? You know what I mean? I think it's like, it's mean. It's like if you don't actually want the Labubu and you know someone else wants it and you go buy it just to make an extra $20 and then that person has to pay $120 if the Labubu costs. That's mean, but is it rude? I mean, sorry, is it immoral? I don't really think so. People like to say that people who go and buy
I think it's predatory.
People say that people who go and buy a whole bunch of water during a crisis are wrong, and actually... It's been proven with economics that they're doing a good thing because, sounds bad, but the water, if it's just sold... Oh, no, here's the thing. I'm saying it wrong. So my bad. Maybe it's not really a point about resellers, but they say that, it's so messed up that Walmart raises the prices of water during a crisis. Water is a necessity. We have to stop the price. Well, in reality, it's actually a good thing because then
everybody gets some water.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's the same thing at all. I confused myself there for a second. Yeah,
no, well, that would be like what happens is you're creating a bunch of middlemen. They're middlemenning the market.
I just thought of something. It's like if a grocery store is forced to keep water prices low even during a crisis, and I guess they don't put a cap on how many you can buy as well, then somebody's going to do kind of a good thing by being the person who becomes the middleman, going and buying it all, and then even though they're selling it for higher, everybody gets some.
I guess the water's not magic card's not a necessity.
It keeps people from hoarding, but yeah, exactly, it's not a necessity. And I can see it being called predatory, but in just not the most honorable way of making money, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I can see it being called mean. I just don't know, because I always think about stuff, and whenever I think of something someone's doing, I'm like, is it immoral? And I just don't know on that one. I feel the same way about lying. It's
well, okay, are you shoving a little kid out of the way to grab all the Pokemon cards?
Well, yeah, shoving, that's the part that's wrong if they were in front of you, you know? But
yeah, and
that happens, that's a thing. So of course I think it's immoral if you're putting hands on someone to grab the last Labubu or whatever.
Well, that's what they're aggressive, and then they're going to run back to their shop and then put, mark it up by 50%. When there's other people around him, it's not that they didn't want to get the stuff, is that they didn't want to shove him while he puts his arm on the counter and wipes it into a basket.
Yeah, and also there's people that sometimes there are these companies I'm just gonna say Labubus every single time. Let's say it's Labubus and
Funko Pops.
Yeah, and they have a what's it called, not a crane machine, a vending machine. There are people that will stand there and take 1,000,000 turns, and it's you're gonna empty the machine, and they do it. They empty the machine and then they go and be resellers. That's messed up. That's mean, if nothing else.
Well, I know it's the same thing. I know this guy.
It's anti-Western civilization.
Well, this guy, he has an army of tweakers that he'll pay in total $2,000, and they sit at the lottery machines that are in the bars. Out west, there's lottery machines in bars, right? So like video casinos. And he pays these tweakers to call him when the machines are getting hot. So they'll give him a tip, and he'll go down there with $10,000, put $10,000 into the machine, and win a $60,000 jackpot.
That's how those machines work? They just get hot?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, because the algorithm eventually that has to start paying out somewhere.
So that is kind of mean to the... Oh, wait, no, that's not mean to the tweaker if he pays them.
No, he pays them off, but he's just got this whole network set out where if he spends X amount of dollars, he's guaranteed to make X amount of dollars with the lottery machine.
To be honest,
he walks away with a $40,000 profit
I don't
or
see
so.
that as a bad thing, considering the lottery machines are a tax on stupid people.
Yeah.
And I feel like the lottery machines are a
Well, no, is he a bad person for that, or
thing.
is that genius? I think that's a genius play.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm claiming, because I think it's like, well, you decided when you went into this business of putting lottery machines out that you're going to screw a bunch of people over. That you're going to, like, it's not that it's involuntary. These people are putting their own money in there, but you're going to do something, your decision for what to do for money is to put something out that's, a lottery machine where
well, as
people
the
are
state
addicted
who
to it.
says we're supposed to do things that benefits you, as the state, we're going to promote this thing to you.
Well,
right?
that's when the lottery is
owned.
even state owned, but like
well,
it doesn't
all the
even have to
lotteries
be.
are state owned.
Well, it doesn't even have to be. Let's say it's not. Like let's say it's just owned by a business or the
Like
Indian
a private
reservation or
casino.
whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Then it's just still. It's like, in my opinion, it's like still like it's literally a very predatory thing to be doing. So if you get screwed because someone messed up your algorithm, I don't really feel bad for you at all. Like if a math genius goes in there and screws you over because they know math in their head.
Well, that's why they throw you out, because it's not technically cheating.
Yeah, they
and
have
they
the
can't
right
arrest
to
you. But
throw you out, but also I don't feel bad for them. Like, oh no, you lost money at the casino. Like I really don't. Like you're doing something that's known to be addictive for a job. It's like I really wouldn't feel bad if a drug dealer got screwed over for money. I mean, if they got stolen from or beat up, I'd feel bad for them. You know what I mean? Like meth. You know, I don't know. See what I'm saying? If somebody found a way to screw over, like if a drug dealer had drug dealer vending machines and someone found a way to screw him over, but it wasn't like stealing, then I don't really feel bad. You know what I mean? It's not stealing.
yeah, I just figured out a way to beat your system. I found a loophole.
Yeah.
So me finding a loophole, I'm suddenly kicked out. That doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they should be able.
Yeah, you
to
can
kick
get kicked out, but it's not. It doesn't make me a bad person for finding your loophole.
Yeah. So this lady, she goes on about finding quality things. She talked about that for kind of a while, but she says, social media makes the fashion industry's failings visible on a huge scale. In September, the Italian fashion house Miu Miu suffered a minor public relations crisis when the model Wisdom K complained on TikTok after an $18,000 spree at the recently anointed coolest brand in the world. That was they wrote period, so I'm like, that's the whole sentence. In disbelief, he showed his 14 million followers how a button had snapped off a denim vest and a zipper had cracked off a sweater within minutes of getting home from the store.
And how much was the jacket?
He spent $18,000 period, so I guess it doesn't say individually.
That's insanity.
At Miu Miu. It says, after the video went viral, the brand sent him replacements for the broken garments, he said. Viewers watched as yet another button popped off yet another vest like a champagne cork. That's hilarious. I didn't hear about that. Defective hardware is one thing, but on the whole, the markers of shoddy construction are largely invisible to the untrained eyes. Lucky for us, there are now scores of content creators ready to demystify the more technical aspects of design and manufacturing. So I didn't realize like this article was like pretty long and we won't be able to finish it. What I wanted to say was that like I think that it's great like that there are people like she just mentioned, there are people going and they're making a little living on the internet by making videos showing you. They'll go into like Zara specifically because Zara is like really popular fast fashion brand basically. They'll go into it and be like, see, this looks cute. You might look at this and be like, oh, this is cute, like just by the design, but here's how the fabric isn't good and why and how to tell. And people are making videos like that to show people. I think we need to demand better things with our dollar. And I understand that it's hard when you don't have that many dollars, but that's why like, and I know like secondhand did become
like
just
the home inspector guy. Have you watched the home inspector videos?
No.
The guy goes around to these new $500,000 houses and he points out all the shortcuts they've taken and trying to hold these builders accountable for charging these kinds of prices for houses.
Wow.
They're going to fall apart in 5 years.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
he's making a living by having those videos and the builders are freaking out about it, but he's like, why? He's just showing you guys that you're scumbags.
Good. That's awesome. I really do think what that guy was saying, you should check out that the medieval
mindset, yeah.
I really do think that he's on something. People are going to reject crap in order, and then we'll have better things. More Free Talk Live tomorrow. Peace.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Rising fees have made Bitcoin useless for purchases, but Dash continues to have fees less than 1 cent per transaction, and its features ensure Dash is undefeated as the most useful cryptocurrency in the marketplace. From a technical standpoint, Dash transactions are irreversible, and its network is protected from 51% attacks by their Chainlocks technology. There's no need to wait for a confirmation before considering a Dash transaction complete, so it's great for merchants.